The Dodge FHSAA Finals presented by Dick's Sporting Goods is brought to you by Dodge. Live strong, live bold, live now, Dodge. Grab life. Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. Bells. Give the Florida lifestyle bells. Metro PCS. Unlimit yourself. Sun Sports and FSN Florida thrilled to bring you all 8 state championship games in the FHSAA football finals live this year for the first time ever. Whit Watson, Brady Ackerman upstairs at the Florida Citrus Bowl. The third member of our broadcast team is Terry Norvell.
Whit, Brady, you know football coaches, they worry by nature. They try and take care of everything that they know is coming down the line. They also have to sometimes cover things, the unexpected things, such as the itinerary. Bill Kramer, the Naples coach, you know he's done this before. He had a feeling putting the itinerary together, said, you know what, let me build in an extra hour when we leave Naples just for something unexpected. Well, about 15 minutes outside of town, the bus breaks down. Radiator hose went out on them. They were delayed a couple of hours, but because of the thinking of Bill Kramer, they had the extra hour built in. They stayed on schedule. Brady, you know all about radiator hoses breaking down. Some of those jalopies I've ridden with you in before, you know all about pre-planning.
Coach Kramer, he had some good entertainment on that bus also, Terry, as he had the 2001 state championship game tape on the bus for Naples to watch. Of course, these kids were terribly, terribly young when that game was played. Bill Kramer, you see his road to Orlando, over LaBelle, over Immokalee, over Glade Central, which is a perennial powerhouse from the Palm Beach County area. And then they beat Cocoa. They actually stayed in Orlando and then took a bus to Cocoa 50 miles away to commute for that state semifinal game. So the Golden Eagles are accustomed to their environs here in Orlando. Joey Wiles, 12 years at StAugustine High School. There you see his record, 115 wins in 12 seasons. We'll take a look at their road. They beat Rains of Jacksonville 21-0. Then Baker County, Godby from Tallahassee. And North Marion, they held North Marion scoreless. No team has done that against North Marion since October of 2005. In the playoffs, the Yellow Jackets have allowed just 5 points per game. And that goes back to your point, Brady, about the defenses. These are going to be 2 of the best defenses you'll see all weekend long. Let's take a look at your keys to the game, first for Naples.
These are keys to the game, brought to you, of course, by Nike. Naples is up first. Get the ground attack on track. You get a chance today to see the split back veer from Naples. They will spread it around in the backfield and defensively limit big plays. StAugustine has a big play offense. Those are the keys for Naples. We'll take a look at the Nike keys for StAugustine. Be disciplined on defense. Anytime you play an option attack, you have to be disciplined and win special teams. Today, the kicker for StAugustine is a real treat to watch, no question about it.
2 very good kickers in this game. We'll touch on that as we continue. Naples in the blue-on-blue with blue helmets, kicking off to the Yellow Jackets of StAugustine. We're underway in the Class 3A state championship game. Glad to have you with us live on Sun Sports. Ball hits the turf in the back of the end zone, and that's going to be a touchback automatically in high school football as the recovery was picked up by Dwayne Brady, the defensive back, who was back to receive the opening kick. Yellow Jackets wearing the familiar Georgia Tech look, the gold shirts, white pants, and gold helmets. They will move from right to left in the first quarter. Behind their starting quarterback, K1 Jakes, who is a 6'3 senior, 180-pounder. 146 of 236 on the season, only 6 interceptions and 20 touchdowns, 2,110 yards passing for Jakes. StAugustine will run out of the spread. 1 wide receiver to Jake's right, or running back to his right. 2 wideouts now to the right, 2 wideouts now to the left. They're going to go to the right to Rashard Hall on a screen, and Hall is upended with an excellent tackle by Antoine Harvey to start things off.
Great play by Harvey as Jakes comes over to the sideline to get the call. There you see his numbers. Big plays. If you saw StAugustine in the finals 2 years ago when they beat Sarasota Booker for the state championship, they really didn't throw the ball at all. They were a wing T running team, but this year they've added the passing game behind K1 Jakes. He's being recruited by many schools, including Louisville, coming in to see him this week.
StAugustine, a state champion in 2005, got to the 3rd round with an 11-2 record last year. Now they're back in the championship game. 9th consecutive year they have reached the FHSAA playoffs. It was a gain of only a yard after the tackle by Harvey. 2nd and 9 with the ball on the 21-yard line, and the officiating crew is whistling it dead once again.
Equipment issue there on the defensive side for Naples. Two great coaching staffs here. I know we're going to talk about this throughout the course of the game. Well-coached teams. They don't make a lot of mistakes. These kids will be prepared today.
Naples had to rush in and take a timeout. There was an equipment issue. Our officials today are from the Mid-Coast Officials Association of Melbourne. Frank Bongiorno will be our referee. While we have a second, we'll take a look at the lineups, the backs and receivers. There is Frank Bongiorno. Include Marlon Williams and Cardale Brown. St. Augustine calls these guys Thunder and Lightning. Devin Martin, Ryan Belser, and Jason Smith. Up front, McDowell, Wells, Williams, Craggs, and Kling form the offensive line for St. Augustine. Lineups brought to you by Bells.
The offensive staff and changes at St. Augustine is a direct correlation to Steve Harden joining that staff. He was the longtime head coach in the state of Florida, took Panama City Rutherford to the state championship, and his son actually plays quarterback at Southern Miss. Came in the fall, in August, and put this new offense in for Coach Joey Wiles. You know, that's hard for a coach to do because Joey's been very successful at St. Augustine. Put this new offense in, and they just kept on keeping on.
Yeah, 115 wins over the course of 12 years, is averaging about 10 wins a year. Joey Wiles, the head coach at St. Augustine. Now, finally, after the timeout and the equipment adjustment for Naples, it'll be 2nd and 9 off the 21-yard line. Jakes from the shotgun. Two receivers to the right. He'll go to the right. Catch is made there by number 15, Carlton Lewis, who is the team's #1 receiver. 8 touchdowns on the year. Lewis also a defensive back. And if you haven't watched our high school championship coverage over the last weekend or so, you'll find that everybody, regardless of level, regardless how big the school is, most of the best athletes are going to play both ways throughout much of these games.
Good matchup on the outside, too. Antoine Harvey, two outstanding open field tackles on the first two plays, 6 versus 15. We'll keep an eye on that matchup today.
Gain of 8, 3rd and 1 from the 29. Jakes now under center. Turns the handoff. They're not going to get there. Swarming defense from the Golden Eagles of Naples. Carry by number 21, Marlon Williams. Not enough for the first down. We'll take a look at it again.
He's going to run a little base play off the left side, but good job of getting up the field. Swanson coming from his safety position. The Iowa commitment, number 23, coming up in there, as well as Lindquist. That was good team defense. Getting to the football, something we will see a lot today when both of these teams run the football. A lot of hats around that pigskin.
A 4th and 3 coming up for St. Augustine. And again, we've got a whistle as the clock is stopped with 10 minutes and 8 seconds left in the first quarter. And Frank Bongiorno indicates another timeout taken by Naples. So some miscommunication, 2 quick timeouts by the Golden Eagles. We'll take a break here live on Sun Sports.
High school championship football is here on Sun Sports. In the Class 5A division, the Cowboys of Osceola take on the Raiders from St. Thomas Aquinas. The Dodge FHSAA Finals presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Tonight at 7 p.m. on Sun Sports.
Well, the good news for the Golden Eagles of Naples, they got a 3 and out. The bad news, they had to burn 2 timeouts within the first 2 minutes of the first quarter to get it done. Now Caleb Sturgis, who is the place kicker and punter for St. Augustine, kicks it away to Derek Delgado, who waits for it at the 25-yard line. Delgado takes it to 22. Gets a couple of blocks to the 35 to the 40, and that's where the Naples Golden Eagles offense will start. As Sturgis, who is a University of Florida commitment, with the punt to Delgado, a 5'10 junior. And the Golden Eagles, the #1 team in Class 3A football this season, 14-0, will roll out their offense and kind of a unique style of offense.
A split back veer for Coach Bill Kramer. He learned the offense under legendary Carson Newman Coach Sparks up there, and it is very, very difficult to defend. They will put the pressure on this St. Augustine defensive line, especially the end positions today.
Yeah, you're not going to see a lot of passing out of Craig Wingate. This team only amassed 1,055 yards in the air all season compared to 4,200 yards on the ground. And there's movement on the left side of the offensive line right away. It's Freddie Moran who jumped. That'll be a 5-yard penalty. It'll be 1st and 15.
Before the snap, dead ball, false start, offense. 5-yard penalty.
Here are the offensive starters for the Naples Golden Eagles. Number 1 is Greg Pratt, Carlos Hyde, Julian Gerbeau, Cody Frank, and Fred Wingate are the backs and receivers. Moran, Schooley, Perez, Benetoa, Fisher, and Pierre make up the offensive line for the unbeaten Golden Eagles. 1st and 15 at the 15, at the 35 line. And a gain of 3 yards. Opening carry goes to Pratt. Defensive line brought to you by Bells for the St. Augustine Yellow Jackets. Darrell Lee, Brandon Whitty, Mike Mayoral, and Jarvis Whitty up front. Linebackers are Blake Brown, Ronnie Floyd, and T.J. Broxton. In the back, Kevin Taylor, Rashad Reed, Carlton Lewis, and Rashard Hall.
Looks like that's T.J. Broxton, the junior, that's down on that first play, and a good positive play for the defense for St. Augustine. Hopefully he's okay. You mentioned those defensive backs that also play some receiver. Carlton Lewis, big-time recruit. We've already talked about him. And Rashard Hall, number 1, the safety. I gave him the vote for the best pregame dance on his way out the tunnel. He gets my vote, the Ackerman Award.
Coveted.
Coveted
Ackerman Award. As Broxton is attended to, the Naples side of the field, as this particular Yellow Jacket makes his way to his feet. Gets a big round of applause from the St. Augustine fans. And I was going to mention the crowd. And you're going to see the St. Augustine side first. Only about a 2-hour drive from St. Augustine south to Orlando. And obviously they brought a ton of people. But Naples did a good job. That's a long road trip to come up here if you're a parent or an older brother. And they've got a pretty good sized crowd on their side of the ball field too.
Naples back in the state championship game. Last time they were here, they were a Class 5A school.
2nd and 12. Wingate under center. Goes to his left, he'll keep it. He's out to the 48-yard line, a gain of 8 yards on the play. It'll be 3rd down and short as Wingate, who is the 2nd leading rusher on the squad, gets out close to a 1st down.
Yeah, he's limping early, but watch him come down the line of scrimmage. See him read the defensive end. As Darrell Lee caves down, he pulls the ball out and gets outside. But again, Wingate already favoring that right ankle as the senior tries to give it a go today.
A 3rd and 3 for the Golden Eagles. Wingate keeps it, gets stacked up and pushed back. Play is made by Ronnie Floyd, who is the team's leading tackler, the linebacker number 5.
Yeah, you got to love the 5'7", 190-pounder right here. Watch this good form tackling, head up, right on the numbers. Good disciplined football right there by St. Augustine. Lewis on the pitch, Floyd on the tackle, and a pair of 3-and-outs to start this football game, my friend.
We weren't kidding about the defenses. Both defenses very stiff here early in the Class 3A state championship game. Rob Randolph, who is a place kicker and punter for Naples, and a very good one, back to kick it away. The rugby-style punt goes out to the right, and that'll be out of bounds. Ends up being a very short kick. They're going to mark that at about the 35-yard line. Now, Randolph is a converted soccer player, so the rugby-style punt may be a little bit unfamiliar as you see the Naples crowd. I mentioned that Naples is the number 1 team in Class 3A football, 240 miles to the south and southwest of the Citrus Bowl. And they were the 2001 state champions in Class 5A. And what happens so often in a state like Florida with so much growth, these schools get split up into smaller high schools to relieve the pressure. So Naples actually went down a class a couple of years ago, went down 2 classes from 5A to 3A. 8:20 to go. St. Augustine will get the ball back with the 1st and 10 on the 33. Hand off to Williams. Williams breaks a couple of tackles. He's close to the 1st down. Tackle is made by Marshall Baker.
Good positive play on 1st down. Find the running game here early in the down sequence as opposed to the passing game last time. You have these 2 backs, both underclassmen for St. Augustine, Marlon Williams and Cardale Brown. Both guys are physical. I know they call themselves Thunder and Lightning, but both guys are comfortable running between the tackles for St. Augustine and head coach Joey Wiles.
Now, Marlon Williams is the Lightning. He's number 21. And then 22, who you see there, is Cardale Brown, and he's the Thunder. He likes the inside lanes, and Williams is the outside guy. But as you point out, either one can go pretty much any direction. This is an offense for St. Augustine. As you see, they're going to come up, I believe. Nope, they've got it. First down. They're an offense that is as balanced as you'll see in high school. Usually in high school football, you do one thing really well. If it's the spread passing teams like we'll see from Northwestern and Miami, or whether it's a run-first heavy team like Naples. But they're as balanced as you get. 54% of their yardage on the ground, 46% of their yardage through the air. So the first down of the game comes at 7:57 in the first quarter. Jakes over the top, incomplete. Carlton Lewis, who had a great opportunity, couldn't hang on as Jakes had plenty of time. Let's go downstairs to Terry Norvell.
Radiant went on the Naples sideline. The concern, of course, the right ankle of Craig Wingate, the quarterback. He twisted that thing severely a couple weeks ago. Looked pretty good in pregame warm-ups, but they're already retaping that ankle, as you can see. Real concern from the quarterback position on the Naples sideline.
And Whit, one of the things you have to be concerned about is if he's at 75%, are you better off going with Prudhomme at 100%? You know what I'm saying? And get your best guy out there. I know he wants to play, but you got to do what's best for your team and your offense.
2nd and 10 at the 43-yard line. Jakes turns and hands the ball off to Williams. Williams out to the 50, 4 yards short of a first down. Good job at that point coming back with the draw play. St. Augustine tried the All-American route for the touchdown, missed it the play before on the post route, but they come back with a draw play, pick up some positive yards, and now you're in a down and distance situation where your entire playbook is open. St. Augustine 2 years ago won the Class 3A state championship, 13-1 this season. A 3rd and 2 on the 49. 7:14 left first quarter. Jakes to Carlton Lewis. Lewis has a first down. Carlton Lewis with 8 touchdowns on the year. The Yellow Jackets 120 miles north of Orlando in the oldest city in America, St. Augustine. About 2,400 students at St. Augustine High School. And there you see the Class 3A state championship 2 years ago. That same year, their crosstown rival Nice, who is also here this weekend in the 4A final, also won a state championship behind some quarterback named Tim something or other. We'll leave it at that. TT. I believe he won an award in New York last week. A first down as Jakes fakes the pass, hands it off inside. And Cardale Brown, Mr. Inside, the Thunder of the Thunder and Lightning, picks up a yard. One thing St. Augustine's very proud of, since you brought up Tim Tebow, is the fact that he never beat him in 4 years. St. Augustine had his number in his high school career. Of course, that's changed a little bit the last couple years. For people who don't know, St. Augustine and Nice are very close. I mean, they're divided. They're basically St. Johns County. There'll be a new high school going in Nice, but that is a huge rivalry over just south of Jacksonville. And Tebow quarterbacked Nice to a state championship in 2005, the same year that St. Augustine won a state championship in a different classification. Jakes is picked off. Intercepted. It's Jamison May. May to the 20, to the 15, and Jakes' interception taken back by the 5'6" senior Jamison May. Naples in scoring position inside the 15-yard line. Well, an unforced error by K.Y. Jakes. He settled on a pre-snap read. He was going to go to the outside, and May just sat on it. Just a quick 3-step drop out of the shotgun. He was going to go to that deep out, but May didn't buy it on the outcut, and he just reads it all the way. Reads the quarterback, reads the route. Watch, he's going to see him get his eyes over there. May read him the entire way, jumped the route, and a big turnover here early for Naples. 7th interception of the season thrown by Jakes, and the turnover gives Naples terrific field position on the 15-yard line. They will turn and hand it off to Greg Pratt. Pratt is good for a yard or two. And again, the quarterback, Craig Wingate, with that bad ankle. There you see Jamison May getting the congratulations on the sideline. Wingate with the bad ankle had it retaped. Jogs back to the sideline to get the play from his coaching staff. And does appear to be favoring it a little bit. Now, Brady talked about the backup, Juno Prudhomme, who's a junior. He has actually played in the last 2 games, so he's got plenty of postseason experience. Wingate's going to try to make it as long as he can. 2nd and 8. Wingate with the handoff to the up-back, Carlos Hyde, a 6-foot, 235-pounder. Hyde gains a couple.
Pretty good blocking up in the middle of that offensive line. Schooley, Perez, Benetoa, and Fisher, 3 seniors on the inside. And anytime you run an offense like this, you love having 5 seniors up front. I mean, you kind of know going into the season, if you're Bill Kramer, I've got 5 seniors, guys who've been together in this system that can communicate. You had to know he was going to have a big year this year because of that offensive line.
29 seniors on the roster total for Naples. 3rd and 1 inside the 10-yard line. They give the handoff again to Carlos Hyde. Hyde trying to get to the edge. Touchdown, Naples. Carlos Hyde puts the Golden Eagles in the end zone. His 13th touchdown of the season on the ground, and it's 6-0 Golden Eagles.
I believe Carlton Lewis had a chance to get him in the backfield, but couldn't quite bring him down. Watch the pad level. See how he lowers his pads right there, and Lewis can't quite get him down with the jersey tackle, and Hall forces him into the end zone. Good running, but once again, credit that Naples offensive line. 2 well-blocked plays right there for the Golden Eagles.
Randolph for the extra point. It's good, and it is 7-0. Naples open scoring here on the Class 3A state championship game as they make good on the Jakes interception. Carlos Hyde with a 6-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, anytime you get a play to the perimeter, you got to have good blocking in space, and watch the seal block here coming on the outside. There it is, right there's another block as he just got enough of Lewis, so Lewis couldn't get his hands around the defender, and then he's into the end zone for the touchdown. But good job of sealing from the tackle, and then the kick out block able to get them into the end zone.
There you see Hyde as he looks on, the junior, 6 foot, 235 pounds. And the man who had the interception, Jamison May, who's a senior, 5'6", 155. Took it all the way back inside the 15, set up his team for a scoring opportunity.
And that was so rare because in 14 games, Jakes has only thrown 6 interceptions. A big part of those were in their one loss where they turned it over 7 times against Nice. So he's been very efficient and very effective. But both of these defensive coordinators have spent a lot of time this week in the tape room looking at tendencies and trying to find ways to shut down these offenses. And as we mentioned, they're great defenses on both sides. There you see defensive coordinator Sam Dollar for Naples.
Marlon Williams, number 21, is back to return. The kickoff will come from Rob Randolph, and he can put some leg into it. From the 40, Williams will let it go into the end zone for no return. So the St. Augustine Yellow Jackets will be down 7-0. They will start things off on the 20. As the Golden Eagles look to make it 15-0 and a state championship. St. Augustine trying to win its 14th of the season and capture its 2nd state title in the last 3 years. Live coverage of the Dodge FHS AA Finals presented by Dick's Sporting Goods continues tonight on Sun Sports at 7 o'clock. It's the Osceola Cowboys, a local team, Kissimmee, Florida, about 20 miles away from where we sit right now, facing the St. Thomas Aquinas Raiders of Fort Lauderdale. The Dodge FHS AA Finals presented by Dick's Sporting Goods tonight at 7 on Sun Sports. First down, the handoff goes to Williams. Williams, no place to go. A loss of 3.
There you see Jaboris Parker getting in there. The senior laden football team here for Naples. As there you see Zahn's numbers as well. Those 2 defensive ends are going to cause a lot of havoc. Parker, number 32, is the smaller speed guy, and Zahn right there at 230 pounds, more the physical guy at the point of attack.
The Mark Williams progress at the 20, so we're back to where we started. 2nd and 10 here in the first quarter. They'll fake the handoff. Jakes looking for Hall on the sideline. It's caught. Hall still on his feet as he hauls it in at the 36-yard line, of first down, and St. Augustine able to flip the field here in the first quarter.
Rashard Hall doing a great job. Look at the protection by the back up in the middle. They sent a little blitz right there with Lane McCombs. They picked it up, giving the quarterback Jakes plenty of time to find Hall, and May was all over him. He does a great job of concentrating on the football, bringing it in, as we said before, big plays in this St. Augustine offense.
May is the young man that had the interception a moment ago. You see Hall's numbers on the season. First down and then some at the 36-yard line. 3 minutes and 39 seconds to go in the first. Jakes turns around, hands it off to Williams. Williams, who's getting the bulk of the carries in the first quarter, picks up a couple of yards, goes across the 35 to the 33-yard line.
Yeah, you look at the contrast. We talked about the two defenses and how good they are. The styles of offense. You look at Naples, they want to grind it out with the run game. You know, St. Augustine's going to pick their spots. You know, they're going to run enough to keep you honest, but they're going to try to get big plays in the passing game, and that's what we've seen. You talk about Hall and Lewis, 14 combined touchdown receptions by those two receivers on the season.
Hall is to the left. Lewis is on the right. Jakes is going to throw. Complete to Hall, and he is pummeled. Called incomplete, and probably fortunate at that, as he was hammered pretty good by Antoine Harvey.
He's going to run a quick out route right here, and watch. He almost knows. He takes his eyes off of it. You can show that again. Watch his head as the ball comes in. He takes his eyes off of it and allows the defender, Antoine Harvey, an outstanding prospect headed to the University of South Florida, to come up and hit him. But as soon as the ball got to his hands, he was looking back for Harvey. Harvey made sure he didn't come down with the reception.
Yeah, probably lucky for him he did drop it. 3rd and 8, 34-yard line officially. Very nearly intercepted again, and that's May on the coverage again. Pass intended for Carlton Lewis. Incomplete. It'll be 4th down.
St. Augustine really trying to work these speed outs against the coverage of the corners from Naples. Just try to get a little 5-yard out, get the ball into the hand of your receiver and see if he can make a play. Unsuccessful in those last two opportunities.
Now you're going to see two of the best kickers in high school football in the state of Florida going at it in this game. This is one of them. Number 12 is Caleb Sturgis. At one point this season, he made 68 consecutive PATs. Now this is a little bit longer. This is a 51-yarder. Sturgis up, and that's unbelievable. That's dead center, about halfway up the net. That's a 51-yard field goal. We watched him in pregame warmups, Brady, and he was a metronome. He is a truly an unbelievable kicker to watch.
That was unbelievable. That was like a rocket. I mean, that was like one of those pinnacles coming off the club face of a TaylorMade. I mean, it was flat out mashed with, look at this thing explode off of there.
Watch how high up the net it goes. This is a 51-yard field goal. Look where it hits the Allstate logo.
Oh,
That's
man.
amazing. That's a high school player. 5'11", 175. He's a senior going to Florida. Let's head downstairs real quick and talk to Terry Norvell.
Guys, in pregame, Dan Mowry, who the former Seminole kicker, who was the kicking coach for St. Augustine, was working out, obviously, his guy Sturgis. They were trying to stretch Sturgis' leg out. They were going to go to midfield right at the 50 and bang a 60-yarder to stretch his legs out. Well, the rules are that each team has from the 40 to the goal line. The referees would not let him bang one from 60. But I guess we figured out he's got 60-yard range in that leg.
That was easily a 60-yard field goal if it had to be.
Wow, that was impressive. And I mean, to watch someone kick it like that, very rarely do you get excited about watching a guy kick. And as you mentioned, both these guys are very good. Randolph as well on the other side. But, man, that was legendary.
Yeah, Randolph has a school record 50-yarder earlier this year for Naples. Both these guys, Randolph's being recruited by Hawaii and by Miami. And he's going to kick that one through the uprights as well, just for good measure. That'll be a touchback as Sturgis puts it out of the back of the end zone, out to the 20. Yeah, Randolph, who is Naples' kicker, as you see Sturgis leave the field, has been recruited by the Warriors of Hawaii as well as by Miami. So it could come down to the kicking battle. And we talked about this last week, Brady, during the first round. The smaller schools. Watch our camera almost take this one right in the noggin. This is from the end zone. This camera's in the back of the end zone. That's kicked from the 40. And that camera, look where he is. Wow. That could be fun to watch later in the game. If they're at the 50, they're in range. Both these teams are in range.
Well, it was a good answer by St. Augustine after the turnover that set up points. The interception that set up the short field. Naples capitalized 7-0, and then obviously a couple of big passing plays. And St. Augustine, anytime they cross the 40, they're in the scoring zone. So getting a field goal to answer was huge for Coach Joey Wiles.
A 3-yard gain for Greg Pratt on first down. It'll be 2nd and 7. Ball's on the 23-yard line. Go to 2 backs. Wingate on the keeper isn't going to get very much. And again, Craig Wingate playing on that sore ankle. 16 touchdowns on the season. Already had it retaped once. Heading towards 2 minutes in the first, and he's definitely favoring it now.
Number 5, Ronnie Floyd again in the mix there at the middle linebacker position. And this is big for St. Augustine. When you look at both these teams and their dominant performances coming up through the regular season and in the playoffs, this team right here, Naples, they outscored teams 148-13 in the first quarter, and to hold them to 7 to this point would be pretty impressive.
7-3 right now with about 90 seconds left in the quarter. Wingate faking to the right, looking long for Cody Frank. Frank makes a great catch, but he's out of bounds. He's the leading receiver on the team, 6'2", 215-pounder, but he was about 2 feet out of bounds when he made the catch.
That was a good coverage down the field by Kevin Taylor, the defensive back, not biting on the fake. And there you see the foot right there out of bounds. You have to have 1 foot in bounds. And it was good concentration, but not good enough execution.
So the Yellow Jackets force a 3-and-out on defense. Naples will have to kick it away. And here is the man we spoke of, Rob Randolph, who handles the place kicking and the punting duties for the Golden Eagles. On a 4th and 6, the rugby-style kick again, out to his right across the 50. It'll take a bounce. The Yellow Jackets will get out of the way. Carlton Lewis will back off and let that one roll to a stop inside the 30 at about the 28-yard line. Randolph, who you haven't seen try an extra point, or actually you have seen try an extra point, haven't seen him try a field goal yet, at one point this year was 114 for 115 on PATs. In fact, those numbers updated now through the playoffs. He's missed 1 PAT all season, 114 for 115.
Well, let's see if St. Augustine comes back out and gets that passing attack going for K1 Jakes.
Trailing by 4 with 1:17 left in the first. Jakes out of the shotgun. A handoff to Williams, nothing doing. Tackle made by number 32, Jaboris Parker, 6'1", 190-pound defensive end, a senior.
And what's impressive about those numbers, not only the 6.5 sacks, but the 10 tackles for loss. That was a tackle for loss. Anytime you can get a negative play on a running situation, that's what defensive coordinators like, because it puts offenses behind the chains and in long yardage situations. So I always like to look at those TFL numbers just as much as the sack numbers.
The center, Steve Garris, will snap it in the shotgun to the quarterback, Jakes. A couple of seniors get the offense started for the Yellow Jackets. Jakes in trouble, holds on to the football, finally pulled down, sacked. Number 59 is Miguel de la Cruz, who's a senior as well. And that'll be a loss and send St. Augustine looking for a big 3rd down play as the first quarter winds to a close.
I thought it was a good decision by Jakes. Credit the Naples secondary with. They had everybody covered up down the field. Instead of trying to force something, just take the sack and live to see another play.
Jakes is going to let the clock run out here in the first quarter, and that will be your score after one. 7-3. St. Augustine capitalizing, or rather Naples capitalizing on an interception and then an ensuing touchdown to take a 4-point lead at the end of the first quarter. It is the Dodge FHSAA Finals presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Coming right back on Sun Sports.
As you see, Naples leading St. Augustine 7-3 here as we're ready to start the second quarter. Let me tell you one thing. The St. Augustine football team, they're well represented. A lot of people have made the trip, about 3,000 to 4,000 here to support St. Augustine. But if you notice right above my shoulder, they have even more support. What about the Nice football team? They're in a day early. Obviously, they take on Booker T tomorrow in their championship game. But as you've talked about, Brady and Witt, very heated rivals here, St. Johns County rivals, Nice and St. Augustine. But good support from Craig Howard and his entire team here cheering on the Jackets from St. Augustine.
And that's a classy thing to do. Thank you, Terry. As these teams support each other, they are county rivals, but they're also both representing the same part of the state. And not surprisingly, Howard sends his team out to support St. Augustine. Here's Brown, speaking of which, picking up a first down as the Yellow Jackets on the move to start the second quarter. There's a flag on the play back at the 30, however.
Yeah, I think maybe we take another look at this. Brown might have caught the screen past the line of scrimmage. When you run a screen play, you can't, as the receiver, if your linemen are going down the field, you can't be past the line of scrimmage, which is at the 29-yard line. So let's take a look and see where he catches it. Freeze it right there, yes. And look at that. This is the line of scrimmage, so he is past the line of scrimmage.
The offense. Linemen were beyond the line when the ball passed the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty.
Nice work out of you, Coach Ackerman. Brings up a third down, and that turns what was a pretty big gain into a step backwards for St. Augustine. To finish the point anyway, it was nice to see Nice out there supporting their city rivals. And again, Saturday, all these games are live. Saturday, Nice taking on Booker T. Washington of Miami at 1 o'clock. That game can be seen on FSN Florida.
Let me just say this about this entire weekend. The latest top 100 recruiting list, anywhere from 21 to 25 players in the top 100 in this state of Florida will be here this weekend. And much, much more talent than that when you talk about Division I recruits.
A 3rd and 19 for Jakes. Pass is incomplete. Through the hands of Carlton Lewis. Brings up a 4th down.
It was a beautiful throw by Jakes. Lewis would have been short of the first down, although would have picked up some more yardage. And with special teams, field position is so key. But his big-time receiver couldn't come down. But that was a real solid throw right there by K'Wan Jakes.
St. Augustine outscoring opponents this year 493 to 75. They'll be kicking it away. Sturgis from inside the 10 sends a high booming kick across the opposing 40 out of bounds at the 35-yard line. 11:29 second quarter, and it'll be Naples with an opportunity to trot out that offense for head coach Bill Kramer. A graduate of Yuma High School in Arizona, class of 81.
It was interesting talking to him this week, Whit, in that when he started out, he said he wanted to be a guy that throws it around the yard a whole bunch. You know, I want to throw it. But he said he'd go to the clinics, and every time the defensive guys would get done drawing their boards up, they'd say, well, what happens when you face, an option team? And he says the defensive coordinators would get up there and they'd erase their whole defense. He finally figured out, that's what I want to do, and obviously he's formed this split veer offense.
Greg Wingate in at quarterback as Naples moves right to left in this quarter. Wingate turns, fakes handoff one direction, goes to Pratt in the other direction. Pratt picks up a yard, and he's stopped. St. Augustine in the gold shirts, white pants, gold helmets, moving left to right in this quarter.
I was going to say, building on what we were talking about with Coach Kramer, and that, he's developed a relationship, with Coach Sparks at Carson Newman, a legendary Division II coach who runs the split back veer, and he says, he gives him a lot of credit for taking him under his wing as a high school coach and teaching him this offense.
2nd down and 8 for Wingate, who's still in there trying to make a game out of it. Fakes the pass, instead hands it off. Carlos Hyde, who has the touchdown, picks up a couple of more yards out across the 40 to the 41.
Well, this is just going to be a draw play to this side. I'll watch the backers and see if they don't get involved right in the traffic. He's going to drop back like he's going to pass, but see the backers, they stay home, and they're able to get in and make the play right there at the point of attack.
A 3rd and 5 at the 39. Wingate's got to throw it now. That pass is complete across the field to number 7, Cody Frank. First catch of the day for Frank, who is the leading receiver on this roster, and that is good enough for a first down, so the chains will move with 10:14 left in the quarter.
one thing that you'll notice when you see these teams that run the ball 80% of the time, like Naples, they'll have one wide receiver, and he always averages 17, 18, 19, 20 yards per catch. They always have him one. You got to have one. The old Nebraska teams used to have one. Naples does as well.
Wingate on the keeper, picking his way behind that big offensive line. He's across the 50 to the 46. Not going to see a lot of passing out of Wingate. On the season, in 14 games, he attempted 104 passes. That is about 9 attempts per game. He completed 41 of those. He did have 8 touchdown passes, had 2 interceptions. By contrast, Wingate, who is the quarterback, had 16 rushing touchdowns and 953 rushing yards. Here's Wingate again to the right. Might have enough for the first down. It's going to be close.
That offensive line's doing a nice job, and Wingate just kind of buys his time, moves outside, and picks his way to the first down. Watch the right side of this line. Everybody's going to block man on man, and watch Wingate just come down the line of scrimmage. There you go. Right there, he just keeps bouncing until he sees some green grass, and he's able to get to the first down chains. This is an offense, by the way, that set a school record with 573 points this season. Only thrown it that many times that you mentioned, Whit.
Saw the rushing yardage now at 48 for Naples. Wingate fakes one way and goes long, looking for Frank. Had the pump fake, and Frank was on a streak route on the right side, down inside the 10-yard line, incompletely second down. And Naples, and we talked about this before the game with head coach Bill Kramer, they played Cocoa High School in the state semifinals. That's about 50 miles due east of where we sit right now. So to get ready for this round, Naples stayed in Orlando last weekend and commuted 50 miles each way for their state semifinal game. Wingate to the right, pitches it. Ball hits the deck as Pratt loses the handle. Bounces out of bounds, so kind of a lucky break there for Naples. And we asked Coach Kramer, was that on purpose? He said, absolutely. We wanted our guys to be ready for a return trip to Orlando.
So option down the line of scrimmage, good disciplined defense right there, and he just took his eyes off of it. Greg Pratt not looking it in. Wasn't much running room. When you see those St. Augustine jerseys on the other side, it caused him to take his eyes off of it, but good disciplined defense right there for Kurt Stewart, defensive coordinator for St. Augustine.
3rd and 15 for Wingate, who now moves back into the shotgun with Hyde to his right. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Wingate with time goes over the middle. That pass was intended for Julian Gerbeau, who is a 5'10 senior, 175-pounder, and it's incomplete.
I believe Terrell Matthews in there on the coverage, the senior, and that was a bang-bang play. But, you know, for a quarterback who doesn't throw it a whole lot, he does throw it pretty well.
Flag on the play, a hold was the call against Naples, so that's going to march him back even further.
During the play, holding, offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, replay, 3rd down.
Interesting decision.
I was going to ask you about that. Now, you send them back, but you give them another down. Why wouldn't you just keep them there at 3rd and 15?
Well, obviously, if they decline the penalty, you would think Naples is going to punt, but Joey Wilds is thinking another stop, and I can get some better field position. Certainly an interesting debate.
So head coach Wiles with some faith in his defense. And Naples will run the ball. Hyde takes it up the middle. Now it'll be 4th and 25, and now it looks like a pretty good idea.
Plus, the punter has struggled a little bit. Randolph in that rugby style, kicking it outside. So if you push him back 10 yards, you stop him, you've just picked up a first down. In the game of hidden yardage, which is field position, and we talked about special teams at the beginning of the game, so key. Both these teams all very good in all 3 facets. Randolph
back to punt. Rolls to his right. The rugby-style kick, a little bit better this time. This one is picked up by Williams at the 25-yard line. And indeed, St. Augustine with some pretty good field position. Correction, Rashard Hall with the taking the kick. 7-3 is your score. Take a break with 8:04 left in the second.
The Magic Play on Sun Sports. Dwight Howard leads the Magic as they take on Rudy Gay and the Grizzlies. Grizzlies Magic, Saturday at 6:30 on Sun Sports.
The Florida High School Athletic Association celebrates 100 years of Florida high school football in 2007. Welcome back to the Class 3A state championship game at the Florida Citrus Bowl, where Naples leads St. Augustine 7-3. The drive chart for St. Augustine: a punt, an INT, a field goal, and another punt, and a couple of 3-and-outs.
The interception obviously resulted in 7 points, and that's the difference in the football game right now. -1 in the turnover margin, 7-3 Naples.
Kwan Jakes of St. Augustine moving left to right here in the second for the 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. Jakes turns, hands the ball off. That is Cardale Brown, the Mr. Inside of this combination. 5'9", 190-pound junior. Brown picks up a couple. Marlon Williams getting many of the carries in the first quarter. These two have exactly 11 touchdowns each this season. 11 for Williams and 11 for Brown.
Tough sledding inside the tackles, and certainly Naples, a senior-laden defense. All 3 linebacker seniors very active, especially number 44, Lane McCombs, at the middle linebacker spot.
Gain of 2. They operate from the 29. Jakes with a man open, incomplete, through the hands of Carlton Lewis and very nearly into the hands of Jamison May once again. May, the guy that had the interception in the first quarter, and that was awfully close to getting picked off as well.
Well, I think pressure from Naples up the middle. McCombs came on the blitz, forced Jakes to really throw it before Lewis could get out of his break, and when Lewis came out of his break, his head wasn't around quick enough and he couldn't find the football. So credit some pressure by the Naples defense to that errant throw.
3rd and 8. Jakes to the shotgun again with 2 backs next to him. Goes over the middle. It's caught, complete, a first down, and then some. Over the 45-yard line, Devin Martin with his first catch of the day. And that'll be a first down as St. Augustine able to get themselves a little bit of breathing room. Martin, the 3rd leading receiver on the roster this season.
He does a great job right here, Whit, of using his body right there to avoid contact, put the ball away, and the senior with a big first down catch. And it's funny, sometimes in these state championship games you focus so much on the big-time prospects that some of these other seniors step up and make plays for you.
28th catch of the season for Devin Martin. 1st and 10 on the 46. They'll go back to the running game. They'll go to Cardale Brown. He takes a vicious lick at the 50-yard line, falls forward. It was Kyle Lundquist that popped him. These are the season numbers for the Thunder and Lightning combination of Brown and Williams. And you see what I love about this is their yards per carry.
Yeah, both at 7 yards right there. And you already mentioned 11 touchdowns, so they're very similar. You're getting 7 yards a pop, regardless of which back. That also keeps both guys fresh, longer into the season and avoiding injury.
Rashard Hall is wide to the left. Lewis wide to the right. They'll go to the ground, get it back to Cardale Brown, and he is hammered. And again, it's Lundquist who's seemingly involved on every play here early with the tackle, the senior linebacker.
He's been terrific. Very active. I like these linebackers for Naples. All 3 of them have been very active here in the first half, especially McCombs and Lindquist. And you look at these 2 seniors in there, they're going to be key to try to keep that running game at bay. Both rush defenses very good for St. Augustine and Naples.
3rd and 3. 2 receivers left, 1 right. 2 running backs behind Jakes. Jakes fakes the handoff. Lindquist gives chase. Jakes pulled down from behind. The speed of Lane McCombs, the team's #1 tackler, causing the sack and sending the Yellow Jackets backwards.
44 and 45 can play with, and McCombs just came firing up in there on a run blitz, and number 22, Cardale Brown, just doesn't pick him up. He just runs right through him. Watch him right here. Cardale Brown, he runs right through him. Got to get his head up and block him. So, at first Lindquist forces him outside and McCombs runs him down, but good, active, aggressive linebacker play from the middle for Naples.
Sturgis getting a workout here in the first half, but not the kind he was hoping for. He punts the ball once again. Ball bounces at the 5 and will roll out of bounds as a touchback. It looked like it may have had a chance to perhaps catch the left side of that pylon, but it is going to be taken out at the 20-yard line after the punt by number 12, Caleb Sturgis.
Well, you know, this is kind of what we thought when we talked about defenses at the start. Both defenses combined for 10 shutouts. And, you know, StAugustine's known for rugged defense under Joey Wiles, but give Naples and Coach Sam Dollar, their defensive coordinator, doing a great job this year, allowing a school record just 115 points. But look at that St. defense. 6 shutouts, Whit.
Wow. Nobody has gained 90 yards on the ground this season against that defense. Handoff is inside to Hyde. Hyde with a first down out across the 35-yard line, loses the helmet. No worries for the junior, Carlos Hyde. He's got a touchdown on the day. Now has a first down as well.
This is just a fullback belly play, lead play. He actually leads Pratt, leads up in there on the linebacker, and they run the fullback lead. And Carlos Hyde running physical, finishing the run, going forward.
There's a flag on the play, however, and I think it's going to bring this one back.
That hurts.
Yeah, it does. It was a late flag, and some discussion followed. And it was way out on the outside.
Play, holding, offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, repeat the down.
It's an interesting play with Hyde and Pratt there, because normally your fullback leads up on the linebacker, blocks him, and your tailback runs behind him. That time they led Pratt, the halfback, inside and handed it to the big fullback on the lead. Kind of exchanged their responsibilities.
Well, that was a first down. Now it's a 1st and 20 all the way back inside the 10. They'll go back to Greg Pratt for a gain of 4. But that's a huge penalty against Naples. You're talking about a net change of about 35 yards as they are back deep in their own territory with 4:25 to go in the second. Wingate still making a go out of it. Been favoring that foot a little bit, but it doesn't seem like it's hurt his running ability very much. He's able to carry the football.
He's been crafty.
Yeah.
You know, he's been able to find his way to some first downs. He's not going to run away from anybody, but he has been gutty.
3 receivers to the right. They'll go right to Pratt. Pratt to the edge. Gets out to the original line of scrimmage, past the 20 and down at the 23-yard line. Still a long way to go for the first. They've got to get to the 30 for a first down. It'll be 3rd and 7.
Good speed in the secondary and getting out there and eliminating that from being a big play, but somewhat of a long sweep play. Get yourself in a better down and distance situation, at least a more manageable 3rd down after that completion.
They'll stay on the ground, will Naples, and nothing doing as Hyde has no place to go. The Yellow Jacket defense thickening up. Brandon Whitty among those on the stop.
Yeah, he's an interesting kid right there. Brandon Whitty's a guy at defensive tackle that had surgery, off-season surgery, missed 4 or 5 games, but now they feel like he's playing in the playoffs back at a healthy level, and a lot of schools have come calling, including Illinois, UCF, Auburn, and Mississippi State.
They'll give him 2 yards on the carry. It's 4th and 5. Back to kick it away again is Randolph. We've seen a lot of both kickers today. Ball bounces at the 40. And taken there by Rashard Hall. Dangerous play by Hall. He's pulled down at the 31-yard line. It looked like Hall was going to let it go. He was surrounded by Golden Eagles, but Hall tried to make a play on it. It'll be first down for StAugustine, as again, they'll try to get that offense going against the Naples defense.
Yeah, with those rugby-style kicks, you're not sure where the ball is going to bounce. I think Hall had to field it because he couldn't get out of the way of it. And fortunately for StAugustine, they're able to get it and keep possession.
So back comes Jakes, K1 Jakes.
The backs for StAugustine, when they pass, are going to have to do a better job of picking up the Naples linebackers in blitzes. They really dominated them in the last series.
Williams and Brown to the back. 1 wide receiver left, 1 wide receiver right. They'll go left, complete. It's a first down, Rashard Hall. Across the 45 to the 43-yard line.
Jakes is an interesting story. I mean, he's kind of a late bloomer as far as recruiting goes, but he's got all the tools. Watch him right here. He's going to play action, set up tall in the pocket, and look at that throw. That is in between coverage, on a dime on the skinny post, and that's why more and more recruiters, as this season has developed for him, have come calling, and he should play quarterback at the next level.
Jakes already with 94 yards passing in the first half. We have 2:54 to go until halftime. Fakes the handoff. Looking to the corner. But well covered there was Devin Martin. Martin pushed out of bounds. He made the catch, but he was a couple of steps into the sideline.
Let me go ahead and mention this guy's name again, number 6, Mr. Harvey. You know, in our work on College Kickoff all season long on Sun Sports USF, and their secondary certainly was one of the treats to follow this year. Those outstanding guys in Williams and Jenkins, and Antoine Harvey, who's committed to South Florida, and I can see him in a Bulls uniform for Jim Levitt, can't you?
Seems like he fits the mold, doesn't he? 2:46, a 7-3 defensive battle as promised here in the first half. Jakes on 2nd and 10. Pass is complete. It'll depend on the stop, on the mark rather. Great stop made out there, but a great catch as well by Carlton Lewis. And they're going to spot him about a yard shy of the first down mark.
Wow, I'm not sure about that spot. Now, this is the matchup we talked about, 15 and 6. And to be a great quarterback, you have to have different levels of throws. There you see his catch. He's well past the line of scrimmage. When he catches it, Harvey pushes him back. That's a great tackle by Harvey, but I believe that was a tough spot for the St. Augustine faithful.
So a yard to go for a first down. It's 3rd and 1 on the 35-yard line. They'll go inside to the Thunderback, Cardale Brown. He will pick up the first down all the way to the 25.
Quick hitter right there for St. Augustine, Whit. And you know, the one thing you look for in great backs, and you got all the tools with the size and the speed, but keeping your legs in traffic going. And that was a good job of just keeping his feet going, churning through there, and picking up the first down.
Jakes will talk things over as St. Augustine will call a timeout. Coach Bill Kramer also talking things over with his Naples Golden Eagles. Naples is one of 8 public high schools in Collier County, Florida. St. Augustine, as Terry Norvell mentioned earlier, St. Johns County, Florida, the northeast corner of the state and the southwest corner of the state. This game a great example of why Orlando was such a favorable location for the state championship games.
And we're a little biased. We love it here. This is absolutely the perfect place, in my opinion, and makes it easy for the guys to come from all parts. Last weekend we had a lot of people from Palm Beach County and the Panhandle, the Big Bend area, meeting in the middle. We'll have, obviously, the Miami folks coming up tomorrow, and I think they've done a terrific job here in Orlando over the 2 weekends.
Central Florida Sports Commission as well as Edgewater High School among the hosts. And here's why Orlando, you got 447 miles from north to south.
Look at this.
In the state of Florida. That's pretty big. That's a long trip.
You come from there and look at that. Right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Right there in the middle.
1st and 10. Jakes to the corner. He's got a man. Caught. Touchdown, St. Augustine. Rashard Hall in the end zone. Boy, Rashard Hall just went up and got it.
Well, Bonnequist, the safety, was going for the hit, number 31, and not playing the ball, and Hall made him pay. Good throw once again by Jakes. He went right there. He was just watching it all the way. And Bonnequist gives up the touchdown. When you're the safety, you either got to dislodge that guy or play the ball. And he was waiting for the ball to come down, and Hall made him pay.
Caleb Sturgis with the extra point, which, oh, by the way, cleared the net and went into the stands in the south end zone. Rashard Hall with a 26-yard touchdown catch. That's his 7th of the season.
Let's see if we can see number 31, Jay Bonnequist, here in the end. We can freeze it right here. He's going to freeze it right there. Now watch, he's playing the ball. His eyes are on the football, and what happens is he's waiting for it to come down, and Hall goes up and gets it at its highest point. He completely whiffs, and Hall makes him pay for the touchdown.
So 1:50 left in the quarter, and it's a 10-7 game. The Yellow Jackets now take the lead over Naples.
Check out this list for Rashard Hall. Clemson, Louisville, Maryland, South Carolina, Steve Spurrier, West Virginia. That's a pretty good recruiting list right there for Rashard Hall.
6'3", 185 pounds. And I know I hate to beat a dead horse. It's only an extra point, but I wish you all could have seen where Sturgis' extra point was kicked a second ago. Almost put it out of the back of the end zone. I mean, like out of the stadium.
He almost kicked it into your neighborhood.
He cleared the net behind.
We're gonna have to bring the Watson children inside. Incoming. Oof. He's impressive.
Just a different sound. I mean, it's, how often do you get impressed by a kicker? It's a different sound off his foot. There's Sturgis from the 40. And that one is out the back of the end zone. So a touchback, as once again Naples will operate from the 20. It's worth discussing. I mean, it's certainly interesting to see a guy with that kind of talent, but it is worth talking about. You think about Naples, for example, and what they've done against other teams this year. They've had 79 touchbacks and about a dozen punts inside the 20-yard line. Now they're getting a taste of their own medicine because St. Augustine can also kick it. And that hidden yardage you're talking about, the field position, you're going to see that play into this game at some point. On the pitch, it's Pratt, and he is smothered by Rashad Reed.
Well, if you're going to play corner against the option, you've got to come up and make a play. And Rashad Reed committed to Georgia Tech. Watch this play. And smothered is a great word. That way, say he erased that play. It was a terrific pitch by Wingate. But the defense for St. Augustine erased that play very quickly.
See the numbers on Hall, who was also in on that play. Reed, a 5'11", 185-pounder. Handoff goes to Pratt. Pratt breaking free to the right, out to the 40. Big gain and a first down as Naples gets close to the midfield stripe. Greg Pratt with a big gainer.
The junior very smooth in traffic. He's going to come across and watch him go up and bounce it outside. Watch him come inside. He goes in. Now he bounces it back outside. Very smooth, good vision, good speed, and a terrific run right there for Naples.
19-yard gain. It's a first down to the 43-yard line. They'll go back to Hyde as Naples, with their own thunder and lightning combination of Pratt and Hyde, they'll go to the inside to the junior. He picks up 2.
Some of your best runs are when you start inside and you go outside, or whether you start outside and come inside. That way you're bringing the defense in, and that's what Pratt did on the long run. He came inside, attracted that Yellow Jacket defense, then used his speed to get to the perimeter.
They gave him 1, so it's 2nd and 9. They'll go for a reverse. Pratt looked like he might be throwing it. Instead pulls it in, gets to the 50. They'll be 3 yards shy of the first down as the clock moves under 30 seconds remaining here in the first half.
Mike Mayoral staying at home, playing good defense for coordinator Kurt Stewart, as you see Coach Kramer right there on the sideline.
2 yards necessary for the first with 26 seconds left in the half. Joey Wiles, a Melbourne High School graduate, class of 1977. 12 years at St. Augustine High.
He's assembled quite a staff. Now, obviously, St. Augustine's just small enough. Their town is the only game in town.
Yeah.
And it is a great community, obviously a great place to visit, tourism-wise, just to go down there and see the fort and all the good stuff downtown. But he has really rallied the support. I was in that area in the early 90s when I was getting into coaching right out of the University of Florida, and they were always a school, and we played them when I was in high school, that had talent but didn't have a lot of direction. He got there and put it all together. Now you see why they're so good. 11-1 in their last 12 state playoff games.
We understand that T.J. Broxton, who started the game at linebacker for St. Augustine, there you see it. The shoe is off. He's on crutches. We'll send Scoop Norvell down there to find out what the exact prognosis is. Dr. Norvell will come back with his report momentarily, but obviously Broxton not going to be back for the first half and doesn't look likely to be back for the game.
Going to keep an eye on the big play. You don't want to let anything behind you this late in the half.
3rd and 2, 26 seconds left in the half. That ball is incomplete. Skips off the turf into the hands of Cody Frank. And it'll be 4th and 2. Only took about 6 seconds off the clock.
You know what's interesting here? If you're Naples, you might want to punt it. Because if you don't convert the 4th and 2, StAugustine's almost within a field goal range. They might be in field goal range at midfield.
You got that right. You know what? They're thinking the same thing because Coach Kramer is going to send out his punt team. I mean, if you're near the stripe, you're in range for Sturgis. We're not exaggerating.
Well, most high school teams, 4th and 2 this late, why not go for it? See what happens. But
they do fake it. And it's a first down. What a call by Kramer on the fake punt. Out of bounds at the 28-yard line is Jack Swanson, the defensive back. Young man heading for Iowa. Had not had a chance to talk about him yet today, but thinking exactly along the same lines that we were. StAugustine gets done in by a fake punt. That's a first down. And 10 seconds remaining in the half. That may have been the old Fumblerooski, Yak.
Yeah, well, watch this. So you're going to direct snap it right there to Carlos Hyde. He gets the ball stripped from him, and our boy number 23, Jack Swanson, is just right in the right place at the right time. So
that weren't no Fumblerooski. Yeah, that's a fumble period is what that is.
StAugustine had it snuffed out, but unfortunately Swanson's there to make him pay.
So that's a break on the fake punt. They'll go up top, trying to put some points on the board before the half comes to a close. That is Frank, who again makes the catch, but again, he's got a foot out of bounds. Second time today that's happened where he's been just one step too long.
As a quarterback, you got to give your kid a chance now. With 4 seconds to go, you got to leave it in, or he's got a chance to keep it in bounds, but it looks like they're going to try the kick. But I'll tell you one thing, Frank has great concentration at the wide receiver position.
So now Randolph will come in, who has a school record 50-yarder earlier this season. He'll kick from the left hash at the 36-yard line, make it a 46-yard attempt. So this is 4 yards shy of his own school record. Randolph partially blocked and not even close. Somebody got a hand on that one. And that will be how the first half comes to a close. Carlton Lewis may have been the guy that got a paw up there and knocked it down. So the Eagles will not get on the board at the end of the first half.
Well, it's from the left hash. Good pressure off the edge from Carlton Lewis. Watch him. He'll come right into your screen. Let's see. Low kick. He was there. Does a great job.
Let's find Terry Norvell downstairs.
I've got Coach Wiles of StAugustine. Coach, your senior quarterback, Jakes, made the one bad read. But, boy, it didn't seem like he quit firing at all.
No, K1's a great competitor, and he's going to make mistakes. But the thing about him, he comes right back, and that's the guy we're going to ride throughout the rest of the game.
Looks like your linebacker Broxton is out. He's on crutches right now, but really that first half, typical StAugustine defense.
Yeah, guys played well, and with TJ down, we'll get another guy that'll step in and play.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it. Take care. Okay, guys, Coach Wiles ready to go coach up his team, trying to bring a state title back to St. Johns County.
StAugustine Yellow Jackets up by 3 as they head for the halftime locker room. Terry Norvell. 10-7 is your score. At the Florida Citrus Bowl in Orlando, it is the Dodge FHSAA Finals presented by Dick's Sporting Goods here live on a Friday afternoon on Sun Sports. We'll come back with your Dick's Sporting Goods halftime report in just a moment. 10-7 your score after 2 quarters. The winner goes home with a state title.
Welcome back to the Dick's Sporting Goods halftime report. Earlier action today in the first half. Off an interception, Carlos Hyde there for Naples bangs in the first touchdown of the game. Naples had a lead, but K1 Jakes, the quarterback for StAugustine, hooks up from 26 yards out with Rashard Hall as StAugustine trying to take the 3A state title back home to St. Johns County. They lead Naples 10-7 at the half. Welcome back, as I said, to the Dick's Sporting Goods halftime report. This is only the first game of 3 other big-time state championship games coming to you today on Sun Sports and then tomorrow on FSN Florida. A little bit later today at 7 o'clock here on Sun Sports, we have tremendous action coming your way as St. Thomas Aquinas is set to take on Kissimmee Osceola. Osceola, incidentally, only about 20 miles or so down the road from here at the Citrus Bowl where the game will be contested. And, of course, St. Thomas Aquinas, a perennial state finals power. Tomorrow on FSN, the action continues hot and heavy. Nice will take on Booker T. Washington. Nice High School, of course, led by Ted StAugusine. They've got an exciting offense, and Booker T. Washington, speed everywhere. Booker T. Washington is ranked in the national polls. And the big one tomorrow night, you do not want to miss this ball game. Orlando Boone, the home-standing team, if you will. They're only a couple of miles from the Citrus Bowl. They'll have a huge crowd as they take on the number one ranked team in the nation, according to multiple high school football polls, Miami Northwestern. So Boone and Northwestern, as you see all the action. And speaking of tonight's second game on Sun Sports, man, do we have a treat for you. We are celebrating 100 years of Florida high school football, the entire playoffs here in Orlando. And tonight we have somehow, some way whittled down the player of the century and the coach of the century. And let me tell you, it was hard enough just putting this team together. Look at the offensive players here. Dante Culpepper, Tim Tebow, a couple of your quarterbacks. Some guy named Emmitt Smith, who played in the Panhandle in his high school career. Michael Irvin, Daryl Jackson, who set all kind of receiving records in Tampa. Larry Brown, Lomas Brown. You look at all the big-time names. Steve Hutchinson still getting it done in the NFL. Larry Little, a NFL Hall of Famer. That's the offense. What about the defense? How about these names? Jerome Brown, Ted Hendricks, Deacon Jones, and Jack Youngblood. Quarterbacks are shaking all over right now watching those four names on the screen. Derek Brooks, of course, highlights the linebackers. I don't even know if you could attempt a pass with Blades, Butler, Riley, Sanders patrolling. You see the rest of the team, including Reggie Nelson, who was playing high school ball only a couple of years ago. Don't forget now, at the half of the second
side of the FHSAA Finals in 2007, St. Augustine up 10-7 over Naples to start the third. Let's go downstairs quickly.
Okay, I got Naples coach, Bill Kramer, coach. Really a tight first half. Although they scored on a pass late in the half, I thought the story of the first half was your cornerback play. May and Harvey were wonderful coverage and tackling.
Terry, that's right. Our guys, they played fast and were technical, and we're close. And even the one touchdown at the end, kind of mistimed our jump. But as far as our guys playing hard and doing what we asked them to do, fit and how they're supposed to fit, they've done a good job.
From cornerback to quarterback, your guys gutting it out, Wingate. Give me an update on his ankle, and is that limiting you guys on any offensive play calls?
It's not limiting us, and he's just being a tough guy right now. And he's a senior, and he deserves that respect, the respect of going out there and not babying him and letting him turn it loose. And so we're going to do that this half as well.
Final thought, Coach. You're down 3 to a nasty defensive football team. What do you have to do to get on top?
We're going to have to block a little bit better. They're doing some stuff up front that cutting our guys and stuff is a little tough, and we'll let the officials handle some of that. But we're going to have to block better and get to their linebackers. We should be okay.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Whit, Brady, I know the talk on this sideline for Naples has been a lot of the blocking techniques, so they're real concerned about their offensive tackles maybe getting cut by the St. Aug defensive ends. Guys, back to you.
All right, Terry, thanks very much. Back upstairs with the former coach, Brady Ackerman. I'm Whit Watson. Real quick, before the highlights, explain what that means. What is Coach Kramer's complaint?
Well, what you're looking at on the outside is the Naples offensive line wants to release in the veer, leave guys unblocked, and get on the linebackers. That's part of the veer offense. They're not able to release to the linebackers because St. Augustine's defensive linemen are cutting them down so that their linebackers can make the play. We'll show you that in the second half.
All right, we'll take a look at the first half highlights. They'll be short. Not a lot of offense, as you'd expect, from two very good defensive teams in the first half.
Jamison May with the big interception. He jumped right here on the throw on the outside, and this would set up the touchdown.
Carlos Hyde would come back, number 34. With the touchdown to open things up for the Golden Eagles of Naples. And then Caleb Sturgis with a 51-yarder like it was nothing. And that made it 7-3. Then, as you heard a moment ago, as the Naples defensive backs mistiming their jump a little bit, Rashard Hall of St. Augustine with a touchdown. And that is where we stand at 10-7. Rushing yardage, 30 for the Yellow Jackets. And, well, these numbers obviously favoring nobody right now. Passing yards, though, only 17 out of Naples, although I guess that's kind of what they do game in and game out.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing, number one, the turnover by St. Augustine results in 7 points for Naples. You want to avoid self-inflicted wounds in a tight game. And number two, if you're Naples, you can't let St. Augustine's style of play defensively keep you from doing what you do. They did have 86 yards rushing in the first half. Let's see if they can get that running game going here in the second half.
We'll take a second and revisit the keys that Brady Ackerman laid out at the beginning of this game. Nike's keys, and first for Naples.
Well, you want to get your ground attack on track. And a couple of times these yards could have been better if it wasn't for penalties. Also, limit big plays. They did get one interception, but 2 big plays of over 20 yards, including the touchdown. They've got to eliminate those in the second half.
Axe Keys brought to you by Nike for St. Augustine.
Be disciplined on defense. They have. They've had 3 tackles for loss, a quarterback hurry, doing a great job against the option, and win special teams. That 51-yarder with the difference in the football game right now.
So the second half is set to begin. We'll see what kind of adjustments these two teams make as they get ready for the third quarter. Bands have cleared their way off the field now at halftime. 10-7 is your score. And you heard head coach Bill Kramer say about his quarterback, Craig Wingate, he's being a tough guy right now. And they're giving him the respect that he deserves as a senior, according to the head coach, to let him tough it out. Rather than pulling him now and putting in a backup, it's the last game this young man will ever play for this high school. They're going to let him finish.
Well, it's interesting strategy. Now, back to the blocking techniques and stuff. Interesting strategy by St. Augustine. Joey Wiles, the wily veteran's been around a long time. And when you talk about a veer offense, what you do is a lot of times in an option attack, you leave somebody unaccounted for. You leave him unblocked. That's what Naples would like to do, but they can't do that because that guy's allowing himself to get blocked and letting their linebackers run free. So we'll see if the officials watch it, and we'll also see if there's any adjustments from St. Augustine defensively against that outstanding offensive line for Naples.
Crowd makes their way back in here at the Florida Citrus Bowl. Pretty good day for football. It's been overcast all afternoon, but it's perfect temperature-wise, mid-70s, as Caleb Sturgill will make his way out to, Sturgis rather, makes his way out to the 40-yard line to get things underway. St. Augustine, again, if you're just joining us, they are in the yellow tops, the white pants. Looks very much like Georgia Tech. With the gold helmets, they will move from right to left in the third quarter. Naples in the blue on blue with yellow trim, blue helmets, will move from left to right. (10-7). St. Augustine leading Naples as we get the third quarter underway at the Florida Citrus Bowl in the Dodge FHSAA football finals. Class 3A state championship game. St. Augustine puts the ball in play. Sturgis puts it out of play as he goes from the 40-yard line to the back of the end zone again. And the 20 has been familiar territory for Naples offense today.
Yeah, and what you want to do against a team that tries to run the football, that grinds it out, whether it's at the college level, the pro level, or at the high school level, you want to make them drive the field. And you look at field position in the first half, the one short field Naples had, the one time they started in St. Augustine territory, they got points. The other 6 possessions, the other 5 possessions, they were shut out.
So Wingate, the tough guy, according to his head coach, in at quarterback, gives it to Hyde. Hyde is stopped behind the line of scrimmage with helmets flying off in the back. Number 80 for St. Augustine is Tarek Odom. Odom's helmet popped off after he made the tackle.
Take a look at it right inside. He does a good job of getting off the block and making the play. I mean, he just went right underneath the block of the left guard. I believe that was Schooley that was trying to scoop him. Could not. And a terrific play by the young fella.
Odom is a 5'8", 260-pound freshman. 2nd and 10. Wingate fakes to Hyde, keeps it out across the 20, gain of about 2 yards, out to the 22-yard line. It'll be 3rd down, and the clock moves with a minute gone by in the third quarter.
What a luxury that is to be able to bring in a freshman at defensive line, and that just speaks volumes to the program that Joey Wiles has built at St. Augustine all the way down.
Before Wiles got there in 1996, St. Augustine was 8-22 for the 3 seasons, 93, 94, and 95. 3rd and 8. They fake to Hyde. Wingate's got it. Complete to Pratt for a first down. Out across the 35, out at the 39-yard line. Pratt, who is the team's touchdown leader with 17, gets the first down that Naples needed to keep the chains moving here in the third quarter.
Pratt's a smooth guy. Now, we've seen him make a big run, now a big pass off the play pass, and that's a big conversion. Coming out of the halftime, the last thing you want to do is go 3 and out. You want to send a message the first 5 minutes that you're here for 4 quarters. That's a big conversion for Naples.
Wingate to the right. Scopes along the line of scrimmage, and he won't get very much as the Yellow Jackets defense swarms at the 40.
Well, it's a pretty impressive defense. I know we talked a lot about them in the first half. The St. Augustine defense, they held their 4 playoff opponents to 20 total points. And at the top, you had mentioned the shutout of North Marion going back to 2005. North Marion has been to the state semifinals the last couple of years, and St. Augustine's knocked them out every time. They got a great program under Greg Damon up there with a bunch of Division I prospects, and they just shut them out a week ago.
The man in motion is number 81, Fred Wingate. Craig Wingate, the quarterback, will keep it, and he will get nowhere. Boy, St. Augustine's defense is really starting to get fierce here in the third quarter. Jarvis Whitty, number 9, the defensive lineman, in on the stop. Actually had a couple of Whitties in on that stop.
Yeah, it's an interesting adjustment. When Broxton went out, the linebacker, number 40, they've actually gone to more of a 5-man front, bringing in the freshman there at Terracotta at defensive tackle and actually getting 5 guys on the line of scrimmage against this veer attack.
Brings up a 3rd and 6. Hyde is the lone running back. Wingate's going to throw it. 2 left, 1 right. Goes right. Intercepted. Picked off. St. Augustine's Terrell Matthews, number 24, a senior, 5'10", 170. With the interception, that's the 2nd pick of the game, the first thrown by Wingate.
Well, it's a good job of just sitting on the route. Watch, when the receiver comes out of his break, the corner's right there. I mean, he just sits. Matthews is right there, breaks on the route, never feared the deep ball. Poor throw under pressure right there by Craig Wingate, and a terrific interception by the senior.
So Wingate will have a little chat with his head coach, Bill Kramer. Matthews, the defensive back, will come to the sideline. St. Augustine will head back on the field with its offense. They'll go back to Marlon Williams at the 30, across to the 29.
Turnovers are huge in a tightly contested game, and all weekend we've got some terrific matchups here in the football finals. These are 2 teams I think everyone expected to be here. Number 1, Naples. St. Augustine, who won it 2 years ago, knocked out in the semis last year under Joey Wiles. And when you get turnovers, you got to make it happen. On offense, you've got to get points. On defense, you want to bow your back and force the field goal attempt.
Officially no gain on the carry. 2nd and 10 on the 29-yard line. Jakes to throw it. Caught by number 1, Richard Hall. Across the 15-yard line, it's a first down.
That, my friends, was a big league throw by Kawan Jakes. He got nailed right when he let it go. And you're going to see the receiver come in the middle of your screen right there, and he gets whacked. Good job of Hall going up and making the reception with his hands, but Jakes put it on the money and took the punishment.
Hall reversing his direction after he caught the ball. He's wide to the right now. 2 receivers to the left. They'll go back to the ground. Across the 10 and not much more is Cardale Brown, who wears number 22, the Thunder of the Thunder and Lightning running back package for St. Augustine. Brown 5'9", 190, as Jakes comes back and talks things over with his head coach.
You know who he reminds me of? Remember Brad Banks at Iowa?
Sure.
When he played here in Florida, a late bloomer. Not many people recruited him. He ended up at Iowa under Kirk Ferentz. Next thing you know, he's up for the Heisman Trophy. I'm not saying this kid's going to the Heisman Trophy, but he does remind me of those late blooming, big arm, tall quarterback like a Brad Banks.
6'3", 180 is Jakes. Turns and hands it off. 2-yard gain for Brown. That's going to bring up a 3rd down, as the Yellow Jackets would love to punch it in here and try to build on that lead. 10-7, 7:05 left in the 3rd. 3 yards for a first down as they operate from the 6-yard line.
You know, we always talk about in college kickoff about Jimmys and Joes.
Yeah.
And it's funny how Joey Wiles gets a Jimmy and Joe, a great quarterback in Jakes, a guy he can trust. and he changes his philosophy a little bit offensively, and they need it today.
4 yards officially for the first down. That pass is intercepted. Jakes is picked off by Harvey. And the Yellow Jackets are going to give it right back. Harvey steps in front of the pass, intercepts it, and gives it back to the Golden Eagles offense.
Antoine Mr. Harvey gets it done right there, and I'm not sure if this one's on the receiver or Jakes. I mean, Harvey read it all the way, jumping the slant route, and as soon as we start throwing some accolades towards Jakes, he gets his second pick of the game. Here's the matchup at the bottom of the screen. Now let's see if he jumps inside right on the break. He's inside. See, doesn't let him inside. Stop it right there. There you see him come inside, make the interception, and that's just good physical cornerback play by Antoine Harvey.
So Naples in business inside the 15-yard line, and nothing doing on the carry by Richard Hall as the Golden Eagle defense comes to play. These two teams, and we said it at the top, and we hope it's become evident during the broadcast, that these are two of the best defensive teams. They are fast, they are well coached, they are aggressive. Two of the best defenses you're going to see all weekend here in Orlando. During the regular season, Naples allowed 5.2 points per game. StAugustine allowed 5.3 points per game. That's over the course of 14 games. Looking long for Cody Frank was Wingate. Wingate's pass is incomplete. Frank picks up a flag at the 45-yard line. Let's see what the call is. It looks like it's got to be pass interference.
Yeah, it's going to be on number 3, Kevin Taylor, who lost sight of the football and bumped into Cody Frank. He got turned around, and we'll see it on the outside. It looked a little bit like incidental contact, but he did bump him. Watch, see, he's trying to, now he goes to find the ball. He bumps his receiver off the route. It was a catchable ball, not that that matters in high school, and a good call. Kevin Taylor on the bump gets pass interference. The junior, you know, it's interesting that we're seeing Naples come back and throw the football in this half. They've obviously, you know, they haven't thrown it a lot this year, haven't had to, but they finally found a defense that's pretty stout against the run and feel like they've got to throw it at least a little bit to soften them up.
You said this would be a clean game, and you were right. Only 5 penalties for 51 yards all day long. Obviously, it's not a spot of the infraction foul in high school football. It is a first down, however, for Naples. They get it back to Pratt. He's trying to get to the edge. Nothing doing. A super tackle out there wide, made by number 2, Rashad Reed. Reed, who fights off the block of the wide receiver.
You're right. I mean, you are absolutely right. This is a terrific tackle. Here you see him, Pratt, bouncing outside. Now watch Reed going to Georgia Tech, put that head right across the bow, knocked his own helmet off, and stopped him at the point of attack. Terrific tackle for Rashad Reed. Textbook. That was textbook.
No gain, 2nd and 10. Clock now at 5:42, third quarter. Still 10-7. That's our halftime score. Wingate keeps it on the pitch to Pratt. Pratt stopped. Gain of a couple of yards. Looked like Richard Hall, among others, in on the tackle.
Well, it's very tough to block these defensive backs in space. They're so terrific. You know, all season long, Naples does a good job when they run the option of blocking on the perimeter. They really coach it out there with Cody Frank and Fred Wingate, Gerbo, and those guys on the perimeter have been very good. But these guys at StAugustine are so well schooled on the option, they jump just inside the receivers, and they're making good plays against the run.
A 3rd and 8 now, as Wingate will keep it. He'll be short of first down. There's a fumble. Still loose, picked up by StAugustine. Carlton Lewis, the star wide receiver and defensive back, picked up the football. And that'll give it back to the Yellow Jackets with 4:54 left in the third. Well, some key turnovers here in the third quarter. We'll see if StAugustine can capitalize when we come back on Sun Sports.
Panthers hockey is on FSN Florida. The Florida Panthers take on the best of the NHL as they head to Chicago to face the Blackhawks. Panthers Blackhawks, Sunday at 7 on FSN Florida.
Another turnover here in the third quarter, the third already in 3 quarters. It's still 10-7. Today's Marines Honor Courage Commitment Award winner is Chaz McDowell of St. Augustine. The award honoring a player that's demonstrated leadership, team spirit, and consideration towards teammates and opponents. You had Terrell Matthews with an INT, then you had Antoine Harvey with an INT, and now Pratt with a fumble recovered by St. Augustine. So it's a turnover fest in the third. The score is unchanged, 10-7. Yellow Jackets in business, going right to left. Jakes on the handoff. He turns and gives it to Cardale Brown. That is a gain of about 6. Make it 7 yards. It'll be 2nd and 3.
Well, as the game goes longer late into the third quarter and early into the fourth quarter, lines of scrimmage play becomes very important. And, both sides defensively have won, I think, the line of scrimmage, certainly in the run game. We'll see if one or the other can get better offensively in blocking guys. 2nd and 3 from the 43. They'll give it to
Brown again. This time he's popped backwards. He loses most of what he got on first down.
A great push from the inside part of the defensive front in there. And Chris Zahn at defensive end kind of started the avalanche, and the rest of the players were there to clean it up. McCombs and Lindquist. Those linebackers have been very active all day for Naples.
3rd and 5, a loss of 2 on the play. Back at the 45.5-yard line. The center, Steve Garris, sprints out to the football. K'Wan Jakes, the quarterback, a senior, in the shotgun. Looks over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Carlton Lewis. That brings up 4th down, and let's see.
Might be a little bit out of his range.
You think so?
The Carlton Lewis, he was trying to throw it to his outside shoulder, just a little bit too wide. I'm not sure if Lewis lost it in the sun or what have you, but just a little bit off for Jakes, and they're unable to capitalize on the turnover. Good stop for Naples.
Sturgis into punt on a 4th and 5 from the 45-yard line. High snap, Sturgis pulls it down, goes for the coffin corner, kicks it to the middle of the field. Taken there by Delgado, and not much of a return. He got a yard or 2 across the 15 to the 16-yard line. One more time, let's head downstairs and talk to Terry Norvell.
Okay, guys, the Naples safety, Jack Swanson, is kind of the team leader and a real interesting bird. He made a proclamation back on August 6th, the first day of practice. He said, "I'm not shaving at all until we lose." Well, it started as a goatee. It kind of morphed into a beard. Then it turned into whatever you want to call that. Then a week ago, a lot of the seniors said, "Hey, let's go bleach blonde." It's worked so far. We'll see how Mr. Swanson and his teammates can finish this run at the state title off.
Yeah, Terry, in case people hadn't noticed, Craig Wingate, who turns and gives the handoff to Hyde here. Wingate's hair is not that color naturally. Most of the players on the Naples roster have, in fact, dyed their hair blonde or yellow. And as a matter of fact, you wouldn't know it underneath the helmet. Rob Randolph, their place kicker and punter, actually has the bright yellow mohawk going. So he can pull it out. Maybe Scoop Norvell can get him to take the helmet off. He's somewhere down there. Got a couple of yellow mohawks.
Look at all that dyed hair. That's I used to use a little lemon juice in my day in high school.
Eduardo, a defensive end, has got the yellow mohawk there, number 86. 2nd and 7. Pass is incomplete. Wingate, long and left.
Sets up a 3rd down, and so again, the defense is flexing their muscles here in the third quarter. Turnovers have put the offenses in good situations, but good defense on both sides of the football for St. Augustine and Naples. And now another key 3rd down for the Naples Golden Eagles.
Their 8th consecutive playoff appearance. They won a state championship in Class 5A in 2001. Moved down to Class 3A. The school a little bit smaller now than it was back then because the school was split a few years ago. 3rd and 7. Wingate pulled down from behind. A coverage sack. Number 14 for St. Augustine is Darrell Lee, a defensive lineman, 6'1", 185, a junior. And that brings up a 4th down and a punt for Naples.
Darrell Lee has 9 sacks. He's the speed rush in. He's going to come from the top of the screen, work his way all the way back, and make the sack. Great effort, good coverage down the field, as you mentioned, with but also great effort staying with the play for Darrell Lee.
All the way back at his 7-yard line, Randolph, the rugby-style punt from the 7 out to the 40 and out, actually back in. Takes a nice bounce all the way down to the 23-yard line as he's able to successfully flip the field and put St. Augustine back in its own territory. Live coverage of the Dodge FHSAA Finals presented by Dick's Sporting Goods will continue tonight on Sun Sports. At 7 o'clock tonight, it's the Osceola Cowboys against the St. Thomas Aquinas Raiders. It's Orlando against Fort Lauderdale. The Dodge FHSAA Finals presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. It's Friday on Sun Sports. Saturday, 2 games at 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock, both on FSN Florida. The 4A and 6A Finals. Be sure and check it out.
2 teams ranked in the top 5 or 10 teams in the entire country coming in on Saturday.
From the 24-yard line, Marlon Williams with the carry out to the 29, a gain of about 5.
Well, you wonder if they just lost a little bit of confidence in their quarterback, K1 Jakes. Now, they've come out and run it early in the down sequence to get them in good, favorable position. But let's see if they can get number 6 back on track. He misfired on the last series, interception the first series. Let's see if they can get their quarterback going.
1:22 to go in the third, 2nd and 6. Ball from the 29-yard line. Jakes fakes the handoff, keeps it, he's in trouble. Stays on his feet for a moment, but pulled down by that aggressive linebacking core of Naples. Kyle Lindquist and Lane McCombs in for the sack.
Well, he's a good football player. I mean, Kyle Lindquist is a good football player, and what Naples has done all day long is bring pressure with their linebackers, and you will see a tackle trap, and he's going to go right underneath it. Watch him. Here comes the guard trying to kick him out, but he goes right underneath it and makes the play in the backfield. They have brought pressure all day long with their 2 linebackers, Lindquist and McCombs. That time it was Lindquist that gets the tackle for loss.
33 seconds to go in the quarter, and the clock will stop as the officials will call a timeout. And now they'll reset. They've got it working the way they want it. Clock runs at 26 seconds to play in the quarter. Jakes out of the shotgun, flanked by 2 running backs. 2 right, 1 left. Over the middle, very nearly picked off, and that no signal as to complete or incomplete. Incomplete is the signal.
Now they tried to go with curl flat in the zone, and you're right, linebacker almost got in the throwing lane in there and picked it off, but Bonnequist was in there at the nickel position, but he didn't quite get enough on this throw. I believe he traps it. There you see it, a yard short. Good angle right there by our camera crew, and an incomplete pass, and once again, Naples defense stiffens, a 3 and out.
And Sturgis there to punt again, standing on his own 10-yard line. Another high snap. He's able to get it off, and that's a great kick. All the way to the 30. Fielded there by Delgado. Delgado gets a block out to the 40-yard line, short of the 40 at the 38. And that is where the Naples Golden Eagles will take over as Sturgis kicks it roughly 60 yards in the air.
Off a high snap.
Off a high snap.
1 step. He took 1 step. He's terrific, and that just speaks volumes to the defenses as you look at it right there. Tough sledding here in the second half combined, only 80 total yards in the second half. So these 2 defenses have tightened up even after turnovers. Let's see if Naples now with better field position width can get something going heading into the 4th quarter.
Golden Eagles moving left to right in the blue on blue here in the third. A couple of seconds left. They'll run 1 more play in the 3rd quarter. That pass is caught by Cody Frank. He is down at the 45-yard line, and we've got 12 minutes to go. It's a low-scoring affair as the 4th quarter is underway in just a moment right here on Sun Sports.
It's Bobby Bowden's statue. Hold your breath until we pass it.
They hit Bobby Bowden's statue.
So lifelike.
Dude.
Get him!
Do you have accident forgiveness? Call Allstate to sign up today.
Are you in good hands?
Fourth quarter underway here in Orlando, the Class 3A state championship game. Take a look at the game summary. St. Augustine leads Naples 10-7. Alongside Brady Ackerman, I'm Whit Watson. Terry Norvell is down on the field. Good to have you with us as the fourth quarter gets underway in the FHSAA Finals here on a Friday afternoon. 2nd and 4 for Naples. They'll move right to left. Blue tops, blue shirts, blue helmets against the Yellow Jackets in the gold and white for St. Augustine. Carry by Pratt. No gain on the play. 3rd and 4.
Oh, this is winning time, and anytime you've got a one-score game, two opponents battling it out through the entire 3 quarters, we'll have one quarter decide a state champion.
Wingate's in trouble, trying to stay on his feet. Throws it out of bounds as he was being pursued by Darrell Lee, the man that had the big play on the last possession. And Wingate goes down and stays down. Now, Wingate, again, if you're late to the game, has a bad ankle. He has been replaced in the last 2 playoff games by the backup, Juno Prudhomme. Got the start today. At one point in the first quarter, had to be retaped. So Wingate has been playing on pure guts today anyway, and just got chased down and nicked up a little bit as Darrell Lee pulled him down.
And the senior quarterback does a good job of getting away from Darrell Lee, but as he throws it, he gets whacked, and his right ankle, I think, just came right underneath there. And that's the one that he's hurt. That's his throwing foot. But to tell you a little bit about Prudhomme from a week ago, Whit, this is a kid that's comfortable coming in and playing. Cocoa, awfully good team for Coach Wilkinson and the folks over on the Space Coast. He comes in over in hostile territory and leads his team to a 61-yard drive to kind of win that football game against Cocoa.
Well, you saw Prudhomme, number 2. He turned and walked away as if they thought Wingate was going to be okay. Wingate able to make his way off the field. Mike Mayoral, number 33 of St. Augustine, was the player that made the hit and then rolled. They rolled together, and that may have been where Wingate dinged up that ankle. There's Prudhomme, who wears number 2. He's a junior. And on a 4th down, they're going to have some extra time to think about it because they're going to kick it away. Randolph is back to kick it. Lewis and Hall are deep. Randolph with the rugby-style kick goes out to his right. It is knocked out of bounds, bouncing off the hands of Rashard Hall, but the Yellow Jackets will keep possession. A reminder that DVDs of today's game and all FHSAA football finals can be purchased at GameTapes.com. Once again, GameTapes.com is the place to go to buy DVDs of today's game telecast. Two games on Sun Sports on Friday, 2 on FSN Florida on Saturday. Game times are 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. 3A and 5A final today, 4A and 6A final Saturday.
And all the games are first-time postseason matchups. So it should be some terrific football all weekend long here in Orlando.
1st and 10 from the 17-yard line. Jakes turns, hands it to Brown. Brown gets nowhere.
I've been very impressed with the Naples defense. You had heard a lot about St. Augustine's defense and all the recruits they have, but Naples comes in under defensive coordinator Sam Dollar. They've held 9 opponents to single digits. They set a school record this season by only giving up 8.2 points per game. And when you look at the teams they played coming in, I mentioned Cocoa, a very good team over on the Space Coast. They had a great year. They beat Glades Central 2 weeks ago, having to come from behind to win that game. And of course, we know how many times we've seen Glades in the finals here at the football finals.
Blade Central, I believe, with 6 state championships, which is tied for the second most in the state. Jakes to throw it. That ball is slightly overthrown. That one sailed off his hand. We could see it from here. Carlton Lewis was the intended receiver. Antoine Harvey, the defensive back, got a hand on it. Lewis comes up a little bit gimpy.
Well, the coaches are all over K1 Jakes because he had number 1, Rashard Hall, on the corner route, and he went back into double coverage on the skinny post, and he made the wrong read. And the coaches were all over on him. They wanted him to throw the corner route. Watch him right here. He's going to go up to the post and break back to the corner. And they wanted him to throw it out here to grass right there where the 40 number is. And instead he went into double coverage on the skinny post. Poor read by Jakes, and he heard it from his coaches.
Sets up 3rd and 10. Still at the 17-yard line. Jakes will turn around and call a timeout. That is the first taken by either team in the second half. 10-7 is your score. St. Augustine leading Naples.
Joey Wiles has built a heck of a program, Coach. 22 of the 26 postseason victories for St. Augustine have come under his direction. In the last 4 years, only 1 loss in the regular season each year. So he has really built a program to be reckoned with at Class 3A.
Now Carlton Lewis is going to make his way off the field. Today's Marines Honor Courage Commitment Award winner for Naples is Chris Zahn, a senior. The award honoring a player that demonstrates leadership and team spirit and consideration of teammates and opponents. The Marines, one of the sponsors of the Dodge FHSAA Finals here at the Florida Citrus Bowl. For those of you who are coming to Orlando or thinking of going to one of the games, there is a fan fest set up on Tinker Field, right next to the stadium. You're worried about bringing the kids. Will they have something to do? The answer is yes. Absolutely they will. There are inflatables back there. There's a football toss. Sun Sports folks are going to be over there giving stuff away. A chance to see a Dodge race car.
That's Casey Kane over there. My kid would go nuts over that 9 car right now. He couldn't get him out of that 9 car.
If you're thinking about making the trip, please do, and bring the kids. $10 tickets. Can't beat it with a stick. 3rd down and 10. 10:26 to go. 3-point game. After the timeout, Jakes gets flushed out. To the right, got a man open. That's Hall. Hall to the 40. That'll be a 1st down. Boy, Jakes with a heads-up play just to keep that play alive.
Yeah, he was very close to being across the line of scrimmage, but like you said, kept the play alive. Pressure up the middle. They went with the double cross underneath. Looked like he was going to run it, but he pulled up just in time, staying with the play, following your quarterback. Great job right there by Rashard Hall. You've got to follow your quarterback. If he bails right, you got to follow him to the sideline. Hall did that, and a big play for St. Augustine.
Well, let's see how big that play turns out to be as the drive stays alive for the Yellow Jackets. They are inside the 40, now the 42. 9:57 to go. They go back to the ground, eat some clock, get back to the middle of the field. Cardell Brown on the carry. Correction, Marlon Williams goes inside this time on the carry. Jack Swanson on the stop.
Yeah, he came from his safety spot unblocked. They just timed up a blitz, and Jake Swanson, who's headed to play University of Iowa, Kirk Ferentz, and he's an awfully physical defensive back.
2-yard gain. It'll be 2nd down and 8. As the Yellow Jackets at 13-1. There are a lot of big-time recruits on the field. These are just a few. We talked about Reed. You talked about him going to Georgia Tech. Sturgis going to the University of Florida. 2nd and 8. Jakes. Pass is overthrown. And that was Reed, in fact, out wide. As the ball just sailed a little bit. May on the coverage.
And I think that was, they were fortunate it was overthrown. May was beaten down, already has 1 interception on the day, and that was a tough throw, literally a hash mark to the number. So he was throwing completely across the field, and anytime you throw a hitch or an out to the boundary, you better get it there quick.
The only team that St. Augustine lost to this year, as our referees who are from Melbourne, Florida, confer.
We have a sideline warning. Sideline warning against St. Augustine. This is their first. No penalty, just the warning.
I'm not sure if they pay get-back coaches at high school level. I know they got him in the NFL. I'm not sure about the high school level. St. Augustine's only loss this year was against their city rival of Nice, and in that game they turned the ball over 7 times. They've got the 1 turnover, and that's Nice, by the way, and Brady mentioned that earlier, that the Nice team, which plays tomorrow, they are in the stadium right now watching St. Augustine play and cheering them on. The Naples, or rather the Nice football website, continue this in a second, 3rd and 8. Very nearly intercepted. There's that man again, May, and here's a flag. Intended for Lewis. Let's see what the call is going to be. That might be offensive pass interference.
I think you're right, Whit. I think it was offensive, and I don't think Carlton Lewis had a choice. He had to come back and become a defender.
That is the call, offensive pass interference.
Well, it's almost as if they knew this was the play they were running. Naples, and May does a great job of jumping the route, and that's, you know, as a receiver, when a guy's got you beat, you got to become the defender, and Lewis does a great job of coming in there, and he gets the penalty, but at least not allowing number 25, Jamison May, to come up with his 2nd interception of the day.
So that moves the Yellow Jackets way back. It's going to be a 4th down and forever. But to finish the story, Nice Football's website actually has a good luck message to St. Augustine on it as of Friday. Again, they are rivals, but they are friendly rivals, especially when they get to states. When they get to states, they feel like they represent the county and the city of St. Augustine. So a 4th and 20, and the ball is snapped over Sturgis's head, and he alertly kicks it out the back of the end zone. Not much else you can do there, as that is the 3rd consecutive high snap on a punt attempt. This one finally sails over Sturgis's head. He will kick the ball out the back of the end zone. And our official, Frank Bongiorno from Melbourne, had to stop and think for a second about what to call that. Now, in high school football, is that ruled a safety?
That is a safety. And it was a heads-up play. Here you see it. They've been some high snaps, and that one just gets away from him. Sturgis goes ahead and kicks it out of bounds. He could have, you know, if he tries to pick it up and it bounces the wrong way, he could end up giving up 7 points. So it was a very heady move, as you said, by Sturgis. And now they'll have to kick it off with his leg. That shouldn't be much of a problem, but it now makes it a 10-9 game. And certainly a field goal beats you. A couple of mistakes today for St. Augustine. An interception, and now the high snap for the safety. And those things mount up against you when you're trying to win a state championship.
Little things. Little things. 2 more points for the Eagles means it's a 1-point game with 8:57 to play. Now the Yellow Jackets will have to take the free kick with a 1-point lead after the safety. And as you mentioned, for a lot of teams that might be a problem. For Sturgis, I'm not sure it matters.
No, but it does mean a field goal can beat you now. And so defensively, you got to tighten up. And Naples has missed 1 field goal today. But we've got a very, very competitive football game here in the 4th quarter.
Kickoff from the 20-yard line after the safety, 10-9. Naples putting 2 on the board after a bad snap on an attempted punt by St. Augustine. So Sturgis to kick from his 20. A squib kick. Fielded at the 10. This is Delgado. Delgado gets a seam. Correction, it's Harvey. Harvey gets a seam all the way out to the 35-yard line. Antoine Harvey with his first kickoff return of the afternoon. Ordinarily, it's Derek Delgado back there, but Harvey is number 6. And he gets some room and takes him all the way back across midfield.
Well, we get to see a kickoff return, and this is Harvey right here headed to the University of South Florida. And Caleb Sturgis has got to make the tackle, or it could have been a touchdown. A great job right here of reaching out, breaking down, and making the tackle, saving a touchdown for Naples, but what a dynamic run right there by Antoine Harvey.
So Harvey puts Naples in business across the 40 to the 38-yard line. They'll give it to Hyde, and he gets positive yardage across the 35. One more time downstairs to Terry Norvell.
As you've seen, Craig Wingate is back in the game. That right ankle is really giving him problems. The training staff wanted to ice it down, but it's so massively taped right now. With only 10 minutes to go when he got hurt, by the time they would have cut the tape off, iced it, and taped it back up massively, the game would have been over. So Wingate's made a executive decision. He says he can go. He's limping around noticeably, but he's trying to go win a state title.
His last game as a Naples Golden Eagle. He is a senior. Bad ankle and all. Wingate turns. Hands the ball off to Pratt on the end around. Pratt breaks free. 10, 5, touchdown Naples. 34 yards and in.
Well, you just got to hang in against a great rush defense like StAugustine and pick your spots. And they go with the speed sweep for Greg Pratt. Now he's going to come in motion to take it on cue as they snap it. Everybody zone blocks to the left, and he just uses great speed. Poor tackle right there, or attempt at a tackle by Carlton Lewis, and Pratt makes them play with the touchdown.
Pratt with the rushing touchdown for Naples. Naples takes a timeout. Greg Pratt, the leading scorer on this team, 15 rushing touchdowns on the year. Now give him 16. Also has 2 receiving TDs, 34-yard run. There you see his season numbers. It's 15-10 pending the extra point.
Now watch, they're going to time this up at the snap, and everybody's going to block to this side, and then he's going to bounce it outside for the touchdown. Watch. Right when they snap it, they hand it, everybody reach blocks, then he just uses his speed to get to the corner. One missed tackle and a good job blocking out on the perimeter there by number 4, Derek Delgado, but he also runs through a tackle, and Greg Pratt delivers the touchdown.
We'll take a look at the drive chart today for Naples. They've had to punt it away in 4 of their first 5 possessions, and then things got interesting. Missed a field goal, had an interception, had a fumble, another punt, and now a touchdown. 2 touchdowns on the day for Naples, plus a safety, going for the extra point with a chance to make it 16-10, or if they go for 2, put it up to 17-10, and that's going to be the play call coming out of the timeout. They're going to go for 2 and try to make it a full touchdown lead over the Yellow Jackets. Wingate over center, out to Pratt. Pratt to the corner, and they convert it successfully. And that could end up being big today, the way the special teams have gone. 17-10. Naples leading StAugustine with 7:58 remaining. So things getting hot here in the 4th quarter. It's the Class 3A state championship game live on Sun Sports.
High school championship football is here on Sun Sports. In the Class 5A division, the Cowboys of Osceola take on the Raiders from St. Thomas Aquinas. The Dodge FHSAA Finals presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Tonight at 7 p.m. on Sun Sports.
Naples with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, 17-10. They lead it over StAugustine. Quickly, we'll check in with Terry Norvell.
Okay, guys, as the kick will be replayed, there was a whistle momentarily before the place kick. This Naples football program and school really takes community service very seriously. As a matter of fact, this football team will be highlighted on Sunday Night Football's halftime show, Line of Scrimmage, New Year's week, where they will highlight the fact that the football players are involved in a number of community services, such as Toys for Tot, Habitat for Humanity. And as a matter of fact, how about Craig Wingate, the quarterback for Naples? He spent his summer building homes for the needy in Mexico. The principal, Dr. Nancy Graham, the head coach, Bill Kramer, they think there's a lot more to learn off the field as on the field, and they really practice what they preach at Naples.
Terry, thanks. That'll be on NBC on Football Night in America. There's that profile of Naples. It is a relatively small community, Coach Bill Kramer tells us, in the football sense. A ton of attention focused on this program. Taking the kickoff at the goal line is number 21, Marlon Williams. Williams out to about the 20, and that's where St. Augustine goes back to work.
When you get in this point of the game and you look at winning time, we always talk about it as an ex-player and coach as winning time, your big playmakers have to step up. And for, when you look at Naples, Harvey has stepped up. Greg Pratt has stepped up. Now let's see if St. Augustine can respond. Can some of their playmakers step up in this series? Jakes, Hall, Lewis, and make some plays to get them back in this football game.
Their average margin of victory in the playoffs this year has been 28 points per game. They trail by 7 with less than 8 minutes left in the state championship game. Jakes fakes a handoff. Over the middle, caught, complete, and a first down. Number 23 is Devin Martin, who's had a nice little game for himself, the senior, for St. Augustine High.
He really has, Whit, doing a good job. The dirty work receiver going across the middle, and there you see Jakes does a good job. His token pressure comes once again with the middle linebacker, but he hangs in the pocket and throws the ball across the middle. He's going to have to find the hot hand on this series and in the rest of the fourth quarter if St. Augustine's going to win.
St. Augustine's increased its margin of victory in each win in the playoffs as well, in reaching that 28-point per game average. Complete again, this time to Rashard Hall, and it's another first down for the Yellow Jackets. They've won their postseason games by 21, 24, 30, and 35 to average at 28.
Well, Naples has come out and played a little soft zone coverage here, and you watch Hall. He's just going to hook right into the window. Good throw on time, and then get up the field. North and South picks up an extra 4 yards and the first down for the Yellow Jackets.
7:19, fourth quarter, 1st and 10. The Yellow Jackets driving near midfield. Jakes flushed out, throws across his body, very nearly intercepted. Stepping in to defend for Naples was Jack Swanson from his defensive back spot, as that was a dangerous pass by Jakes.
A great pressure up front. I think it was De La Cruz coming in on the inside in the middle, but good pressure up front. He just throws it off his back foot, and he's very fortunate not to get an interception. Also, Jaboris Parker in there as well, and De La Cruz bringing some heat from the middle for the big fella.
Intended for Carlton Lewis, incomplete. 2nd and 10 on the 48-yard line. Man in motion is Lewis. They'll go out wide to Hall, who is wide open, but he'll be stopped well short. Antoine Harvey was giving him a lot of cushion, but trying to prevent that first down yardage from happening.
Well, you want to look at that cushion when you have a 7-point lead. There you see it right there. They're in a zone coverage, so they're just backing off. 3 across. He don't get beat deep, and then when Harvey tries to come out of his break, he slips, but good job keeping the defender in front of you, not letting him make a run after the catch. I know Harvey's probably more comfortable in man, but when you have a 7-point lead late in the football game, you don't want anything to get behind you.
They'll need 5 for a first down. Ball's on the 47. Faking the handoff, Jakes out wide. Another dangerous pass and good defense on the far side. Once again,
that's Harvey again, our guy, and this time they go to a cover 2-man, and Harvey gets inside Hall. Check it right here. He's going to have inside leverage. Now watch him trailing the entire way. They're going to sprint out and try to get it to Hall, but he's in his hip pocket all the way, and would have been a tough catch, even a tougher throw right there for Jakes. Great coverage by Antoine Harvey. He's going to be a great one at South Florida. Defensive backs love to play man, especially great ones. You don't commit to South Florida if you're not a pretty good defensive back. So you saw the difference. In zone, he gives up the catch, but when they went back on the money down, 3rd down to man, Harvey was right in his hip pocket.
Timeout is called with 6:52 remaining in the 4th. There was a flag on the field, but that's waved off, as the timeout is what stopped the clock. Once again, our officials are from Melbourne, Florida, the Mid-Coast Officials Association. Frank Bongiorno is our referee. And Hall has has had a pretty big day for St. Augustine. Rashard Hall and Carlton Lewis, the two go-to guys for the Yellow Jackets, but Hall has been the prime target for Jakes.
Yeah, there you see him getting down the field, making a play, and then this is the big one right here, concentrating on the football, getting it at its highest point, and producing the only touchdown today for St. Augustine. The thing that concerns me with these two guys, Hall and Lewis, is they play both ways, and when you're matched up against a kid like this, Harvey, it gets to be tough sledding here in the fourth quarter. There you see him staying with the play with the quarterback and making a play. But Witt, as you see his numbers right here for Rashard Hall on the day, there he is, number 1, 8 catches, 148 yards. Joey Wiles going to punt it. He's had great defense all day long. He's got 2 timeouts left. You get field position in your favor. If you can get a 3 and out, then you get a short field with a chance to go tie the game. Some people might say, is this 4-down territory? But I think you go ahead and you punt it away and see if you can play some great defense.
Sturgis with the rugby-style kick out to the right, and that is kicked out of bounds. Looked like it was a design play, but I'm not exactly sure what the thought is behind it.
And I guess they wanted to kick away from Naples. And a lot of times when you use the rugby, you can kick it towards one side. You try to get a hop or get it out of bounds where there's no return. But I wouldn't have mind seeing him try to pin one inside the 10.
As it stands, it's not terrible at all. It's the 21-yard line, but certainly not the 10 or the 5. But still, 6:44 to go, 7-point lead for Naples. They'll move right to left with the lead. Wingate is still in the game. Carlos Hyde on the carry. Gets an extra push and a couple of yards. Naples lost in the 2003 state championship game. They are making their 3rd appearance in the finals. 2001 state champs in a larger classification in 5A. There are 29 seniors on the roster, and they were in 8th grade back in 2003, and they watched that loss for Naples in the state championship game. Many of them saying this week, we'll never forget it, and it drove us when we got to the varsity level. Wingate throws it wide. That's going to be a passing interference call on the far sideline. The intended receiver was Gerbeau, and it was number 24, Terrell Matthews, who had the big INT earlier in the game. He's going to get the call here.
Well, it might be a good penalty because they were going with the curl and go, and he was beat. He grabs the receiver to make sure he doesn't give up the play, and he'll take the penalty and live to see another down. But it looks like a tired St. Augustine defense. There you see his hand on him right there, grabbing him. They went with the curl and go, and Gerbeau got behind him. He takes the penalty, but that defense for Joey Wiles looks very tired out there right now. A lot of guys with their hands on their hips, and they need a 3 and out. They need a stop on this series.
Penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
That's an automatic first down as well, so the ball is moved up to the 40-yard line. It's one of the big differences, one of many differences in high school football. It is not a spot infraction. It is a yardage infraction. So it's actually, if you're beat as badly as he was beat, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and just wrap the guy up.
It's a good play.
1st and 10 at the 40-yard line. Wingate quickly whipping it out to Cody Frank. Frank to the 50-yard line. He's close to a first down.
About the pass from the senior quarterback out there to Cody Frank. You know, St. Augustine's got 7 guys in the box, 5 guys on the line of scrimmage, so you just throw it out there and run a little quick screen out to the flat and see what he can make. He gets north and south, 10 yards, just one-on-one, make a guy miss, run a guy over. Good blocking on the perimeter once again out there by Derek Delgado, who's done a nice job. And this entire game and the momentum of this football game turned on that snap on the punt. And it has been Naples ever since the safety.
A first down as Wingate is able to get out across the line of scrimmage and gain 2 yards. 6'1", 190-pounder senior. Well, Naples prides itself on being a second-half team. That is one of their mantras this year. We are a second-half team.
One of the strange ironies in this game is the only one other team this season has gotten to 17 points on this defense. Granted, they needed an interception and a safety, and that was Nice.
Yeah.
The only team to beat them.
6 shutouts pitched this year by St. Augustine, including 2 in the postseason. Only 3 teams have scored double figures this year against the Yellow Jackets. Here's Pratt on the carry for no gain. And all 3 of those teams, Brady, that managed to get the 10 points against St. Augustine all made at least the semifinals in their respective classifications this year.
Yeah, and it's a good defense, a very good defense, a great defense. They've got to bow their backs now. Blake Brown did a great job from the junior linebacker, from the linebacker position, of turning that play inside and letting Hall get the tackle. A huge 3rd down for the Yellow Jackets on defense.
Big play. 3rd and 6 on the 46 with 4:23 to go. Eagles up by 7 and driving, trying to keep the drive alive. The pitch to Pratt. He'll be short by about 3 yards. Swarming defense again by the Yellow Jackets. Ronnie Floyd, number 5, in on the tackle, their leading tackler.
They're going to run the option out here and watch the pursuit from here and there and see if that's where St. Augustine doesn't get. See the option off the DN, number 9, Jarvis Whitty, but he gets down the line of scrimmage, and there you see Ronnie Floyd, the little fella, the junior middle linebacker who's played big today for the Jackets.
And Carlton Lewis also did a great job of shaking off the block by Carlos Hyde. He just sort of slipped that block and got out there and was able to assist Floyd on the tackle. So that's a big stop, and now it's 4th and 2. A reminder, it's 7 o'clock tonight on Sun Sports Live. The Cowboys of Kissimmee, Osceola High School, take it on St. Thomas Aquinas, the team that lost to Lakeland in 3 consecutive state championship games. Can they finally break through? Tonight at 7 o'clock with a live post game to follow. Join us right here on Sun Sports.
Going to work overtime tonight, aren't we? Ought to be fun. The Cowboys back in there, won it in 98 with Willie Green.
Yeah.
Former University of Florida running back. And St. Thomas, that's just kind of a right of winner, isn't it? St. Thomas in the finals?
If it's the final, it must be St. Thomas Aquinas. And by the way, they're playing the team, Osceola, that beat Lakeland not only once but twice this season. The Cowboys beat them in the regular season to stop that 53-game state record winning streak and beat them in the playoffs. So STA should be saying thank you to Osceola. Going for it on 4th and 2 with 4 minutes to go. Wingate trying to draw the defense off sides. The hard count. Play clock is down to 1. They're going to take the penalty. Trying to draw the Yellow Jackets off, and it didn't work. Excellent job. Good discipline by St. Augustine. Probably expecting it. So they'll take the 5 yards, move it back, and they'll kick it away.
That was great coaching on both sides. Bill Kramer, why not take a chance to extend the drive, see if you can get him to jump off sides, maybe run out the rest of the clock. And Joey Wiles, his defensive coordinator, Kurt Stewart, and that staff, not getting those kids to jump off sides, being disciplined, like you said, Whit, giving their offense another chance to get the football and maybe tie this football game up.
Randolph will kick it standing on his own 40-yard line. Goes to the middle of the field, where it's picked up by Hall. Hall at the 15, out to the 19, near the 20-yard line. So we'll take a break with 3 minutes and 52 seconds remaining. The Yellow Jackets have to go 80 yards to tie the game here in the 4th. The Dodge FHSAA Finals, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, is brought to you by Dodge. Live strong, live bold, live now, Dodge. Grab life. Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. Bells. Give the Florida lifestyle bells. Metro PCS. Unlimit yourself. Back in Orlando for the Class 3A title game. Naples with a 7-point lead. The Yellow Jackets of St. Augustine have the football, 3:52 to go, 80 yards to tie the game. Whit Watson, Brady Ackerman, Terry Norvell here at the Florida Citrus Bowl. Our second weekend of live coverage of both weekends of the FHSAA Finals on Sun Sports and FSN Florida. Fumble, picked up by St. Augustine. Jakes was hit. The ball was scooped up by St. Augustine's running back, Cardale Brown. That could have been disastrous. Take a look at this one again.
Yeah, number 99, Chris Zahn, I think, got there from his defensive end position. This is what you don't want. There it is, Zahn causing the turnover. This is what you don't want when you're trying to drive the field and you're behind, is a negative play on first down. They're very fortunate to get that one back, but here you see the numbers. Very efficient in the first half, a lot of big plays, but in the second half, that defense has tightened for Naples, and Jakes has not been able to come up with the big play.
Wow, that is a loss of 15. It's 2nd and 24. Jakes out of his own end zone. He's got 3 guys bearing down on him. They work the screen out to Brown. Brown gets back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Great call by Joey Wiles and his staff right there, going with the screen play as Naples is teeing off on him. You're going to see all the linemen are going to release down the field, and the back's going to catch it. Watch the little screen play. He's going to drop back. All the linemen, bam, there they go, down the field. Look at all 3 of them blocking at the point of attack and picking up some of that lost yardage, giving themselves a chance here on 3rd down.
By the way, Kyle Lindquist is having a terrific state championship game. He was the guy that made the tackle on that play. Saved a first down. 3rd and 9 officially. Jakes again from the shotgun. Over the middle, it's caught. Complete, a first down at the 40-yard line. Devin Martin again, Mr. First Down, the guy that you go to when you need the 18-yard first down play. Martin's been the guy.
They come with the crossing route, catch Naples in a blitz. That means the linebackers vacated the zone in the middle of the field, and Martin replaced it with a little shallow cross and a first down. Great play call and execution by St. Augustine.
What a huge, huge turn of events that is for the Yellow Jackets. They had 2nd and 25 as Jakes was throwing out of his own end zone. Now they're on the 40-yard line with 2:12 to go, keeping the drive alive. Jakes looking long. He's got Hall open. Hall with the catch, the first down at the 39-yard line. The clock is rolling, however. 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Now they'll stop it.
This was a great throw. Under pressure, corner route to the boundary. He lets it go. And watch Hall go up and get it against Harvey. This time he said, Mr. Harvey, let me make a play. And Rashard Hall comes down with a huge catch for St. Augustine.
Jakes perfect on the drive. First down at the 40. Clock rolls under 2 minutes. Jakes for Lewis. It's caught. And another first down for St. Augustine. Carlton Lewis to one side, Rashard Hall to the other.
Well, this is just a fade route against cover 2. The safety never gets over there to help out number 25, Jamison May, and this is a matchup of 6'3 versus 5'6, so they go for it right there, but the safety's got to get over there, Swanson, and help him out, and May was left on an island, and Lewis made him pay.
Ball on the 19-yard line. Naples exhorting its crowd. St. Augustine exhorting its crowd. Jakes to throw, going for Hall in the corner. Incomplete. Coverage by number 6, Harvey.
Well, Naples keeps blitzing the middle linebackers. They keep bringing heat on Jakes, and the backs have done a better job in this series of picking it up, but still it's forcing him to throw without looking. And you know, when you're inside now, you can still run your offense with a minute and a half to go. You can still take the shallow cross or the short routes. You don't have to go for the touchdown. You can make a first down inside the 10.
48-year-old head coach Joey Wiles, you saw him there. He was the head coach at his alma mater, Melbourne High School, for 11 years. He says that this team reminds him of his state championship team from '05. Jakes is in trouble. Jakes with a sack. They take him back 15 yards. And that's a huge play by the defense for Naples. Chris Zahn leading the way. Timeout taken by St. Augustine with 1:23 left.
Chris Zahn is going to be lined up on your defensive end spot and come in, and the pressure is going to come from right there, but it comes from everywhere. Great job of coverage. See Zahn, he gets underneath with the rip technique, comes outside the block of number 51 right there for St. Augustine, Chaz McDowell, and makes the play. Good coverage down the field, but also a great technique by Chris Zahn, the senior.
That is the last timeout for St. Augustine. It's going to be 2nd and long. They have no timeouts. 3rd down and long, correction. They have no timeouts. They're going to operate from the 30-yard line. They've got to get to the 9 for a 1st down.
So 3rd and 21. There's two schools of thought. Do you come back to the screen play or a short throw and pick up half of it and give yourself a manageable 4th down? Or do you go ahead and try to poke one down there and pick it all up on 3rd down? We'll see what Joey Wiles decides on this play. But, you know, I got to think, if you're thinking 4-down territory, let's get part of that back. Remember, they've already overcome a 2nd and 29 or whatever in this series. So they're very capable of it. They have 2 downs to play with.
Wiles says this might be the best team we've ever had. We're going to find out what they've got right now. 3rd and 20. Here comes the blitz. Jake stays alive, buying some time. Ball is still alive and finally hits the grass. Jakes was flushed out, never saw the pursuit from the back. Made a dangerous pass. Ball popped straight up in the air and finally falls incomplete. After all that, it's 4th and 20.
There's not a lot of 4th and 20 plays, but what a job right here of avoiding Lane McCombs, who's coming around the edge right there. And I would have loved to seen the young fella Jakes just take off and run it right there, pick up what he could. He tried to make a play to Carlton Lewis and couldn't do it. And now you're looking at some sort of a matchup. See if they don't attack Jamison May. See if they can find him in some sort of man-to-man coverage and just try a jump ball on the outside.
Could be the last chance for St. Augustine High School. They're down by a touchdown, 1:12 to go, 4th and 20 from the 30-yard line.
Press coverage on the outside, 2-man.
Kwan Jakes throws over the middle, intercepted. It's picked off. Kyle Lindquist. We just said a moment ago that Kyle Lindquist, in my estimation, is having as good a game as any player on the Naples roster today. That could be the pick that seals a state championship.
He's a special player. Both those linebackers have had huge days. Their coach, defensive coordinator Sam Dollar, has set them all day long. Pressure once again. Lane McCombs coming up. A design play to throw it back across the field, but good discipline by Naples. And Lindquist gets the interception and gets down and celebrates a 3A state title if they can hang on to the football for a minute.
5'10", 180 pounds. He's a senior. Lindquist is on the sideline in disbelief.
The question I got is, Norvell going to get down there and get Swanson to shave that beard down there? Maybe get that beard shaved.
Wingate stays in the game as the clock runs.
Well, you have to look at errors from St. Augustine's perspective. The snap over the head of Sturgis for this safety changed the entire complexion of this football game in the 3rd quarter. With 10-7, you know, it's a defensive struggle. You give them 2 points, then the huge return by Harvey. They go in for the touchdown and the 2-point conversion, and Naples really controlled the football game from there.
2nd down, Naples should be able to do it with one more snap. 28 seconds left on the clock. They may have to stay on the field for one more. Well, that's going to be it. For the first time since 2001, the Golden Eagles of Naples High School, a perennial power in Collier County and Southwest Florida, they are state champions. And Brady, as promised, this game came down to which of 2 terrific defenses would play better today.
And it has to go to Naples. There's Antoine Harvey. Great job setting the tempo early in the game with open field tackles. May with an interception that would set up a touchdown. And how about Chris Zahn from the defensive line spot? He was special all day long.
The Golden Eagles, who have made 8 consecutive playoff appearances, they lost in the final in 2003. Their 3rd trip to the state championship game, 29 seniors on the roster. They will celebrate a long bus ride back to Southwest Florida with a 2007 state championship. And our Beef O'Brady's players of the game, we're going to give it to everybody. The Naples defense and special teams. 5 sacks, 3 interceptions, and a safety as Naples beats St. Aug. All right, let's go downstairs to Terry Norvell.
I've got winning coach Bill Kramer from Naples High School. Coach, not very often do you talk about an MVP in a football game being from the cornerback position, but Antoine Harvey played his you-know-what off. Talk about it.
He's a big-time player. It's funny. We got one guy with an offer on the team, no visits, no colleges. But look what happens. Our guys go out and play hard. They're excellent athletes and execute. We hang our hat on our defense. Our special teams are special, and our offense pounds it. And that's what we saw today.
Talk about defensively. I mean, you trail at the half, but you have to really pitch a shutout because every yard was crucial in this ball game.
That St. Augustine defense is the best that we've seen. Joey Wiles and his staff are unbelievable. Technicians, they're unbelievable at preparation, and they're tacticians to the nth degree. And I can't say enough. To beat these guys means a lot more than to beat a bunch of folks around the state or the country for that matter.
I can't let you go without talking about your quarterback. I mean, he gimped around all game. He's gimped around for a couple of weeks. Talk about Craig Wingate's performance.
Oh, you got to love him. He's going to be really sore tomorrow. But you talk about a kid sucking it up with a really bad ankle. I mean, it's bad. And made plays when we had to. Checks us in and out of stuff. I mean, he's getting us into the right play. That's something people don't see and don't recognize. And I'm really grateful we have him on our side.
Go enjoy your state, Coach.
Thanks, Eric.
Wade Brady back up top.
Congratulations as well to the St. Augustine Yellow Jackets for reaching the state championship game. A 13-2 season in 2007 for St. Augustine. Naples completes a perfect 15-0 campaign as state champions. Number 1 ranked team in Class 3A football, completing the deal here in Orlando. For Terry Norvell, Brady Ackerman, and our entire Sun Sports crew here at the Florida Citrus Bowl, I'm Whit Watson. Final score today, Naples 17, St. Augustine 10 in the FHSAA Finals. Join us live at 7 o'clock tonight for the Class 5A Final here on Sun Sports. We'll see you then from the Florida Citrus Bowl.